If you created the perfect basketball fable, it might begin in a small town in Indiana, where kids grow up with a ball in one hand, a basket out back, and dreams of glory in their heads. Or maybe it's a big city kid's dream, which starts on the playground, with the hope that it might end here on this floor, the way it did in Game 7, when the Lakers returned to Showtime and saw to it that the finals returned to LA. The Indiana Pacers will join them, making their first appearance in the finals. They were carried to this point by sharpshooter Reggie Miller. His 13-year wait for this moment has now ended. He's heard all about it from his coach, a five-time performer on the league's ultimate stage. In the 1980s, Larry Bird's battles with the Lakers and Magic Johnson reached epic proportions. Now, in his final turn on the bench, he wants one more ring for all of Indiana. It's June in the NBA. For the Pacers, a date long overdue. For the Lakers, it's the way it was supposed to be all year. The NBA championship begins tonight. Hoosiers versus Hollywood. Game 1 next.
This is the NBA on NBC. Tonight, Game 1, the Indiana Pacers versus the Los Angeles Lakers.
The Indiana Pacers, three-time champions of the old ABA, bidding for their first NBA championship. And the Los Angeles Lakers, who have made it this far to the NBA Finals 19 times, but this is their first visit since 1991. Game 1, only minutes away at the Staples Center. Hello, everybody. With Doug Collins, I'm Bob Costas. Now, we wish we could start with an original point, but any game involving the Los Angeles Lakers against any opponent sees the conversation begin with Shaquille O'Neal. The Lakers are favored to win the NBA title this year and to win this series, obviously, because of the presence of their near-unanimous MVP.
Bob, when you prepare to play the Lakers, everything centers around Shaquille O'Neal. How are you going to defend him? How are you going to slow him down? The Sacramento Kings in the first round did a nice job swarming him. You see four defenders back in the paint. They slowed down Shaquille, forced it to a 5-game series. Then the Portland Trailblazers were terrific defensively. They were in his lap, stripping the ball loose, causing him all kinds of problems. When he gets the ball quickly and goes to the basket, you cannot defend him. He's unstoppable. He's the most dominant player in the game. And why is it important to slow down Shaquille O'Neal? Because he's the barometer of this team's success. When he scores, look how well his team plays. When he struggles, his team struggles. With that said, also there is Kobe Bryant. Now, Kobe has been sensational throughout the playoffs, but more importantly, first team all defense. Now, he's going to be playing 4 different Pacers, but everybody's going to be waiting for that glamour matchup, Kobe versus Reggie. Bob?
It isn't just the matchup with Kobe Bryant that Reggie Miller's been looking forward to. He's been looking forward to this chance his entire career.
You know, this is my first time here, and it took me 12 years to get here. You know, the adage we're taking is we're here, we might as well go ahead and win it, and I'm going to do everything I damn near can to win this series, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. So if there's hurt feelings on either side, on my team as well as theirs, at this point in my career and how I feel, I don't care, because I just want to get the job done.
Reggie Miller loves the bright lights. He loves center stage. Well, here he is in the NBA Finals, and this is when he's at his best. He dons his Superman t-shirt and promptly shoots down the Milwaukee Bucks. They move forward to the Philadelphia 76ers, and it's his turn now to eliminate the 76ers. Moving forward now to the New York Knicks. He goes into Madison Square Garden, 17 points in the deciding Game 6 in the fourth quarter to shoot down New York. And look at what Reggie has done in these playoffs. The bigger the game, the better he is, and he loves it on the road. He loves going into a city, being the villain, and Bobby would nothing like to do better than come in here, his hometown of Los Angeles, and shoot down these Los Angeles Lakers.
You know, he told us yesterday, I realize they don't hate me here like they do in some of the Eastern Conference cities where we have a rivalry. It's not like it is in New York, but just give me a game or two. Just wait. They'll hate me here soon enough. As for the coaches, each is a veteran of the NBA Finals in his own fashion. Here's what they have to say.
We just can't be happy about playing in the finals. We got to go out and prove everybody wrong that we are a good team. We're capable of winning.
They don't remember who came in second usually. They forget about that. So this is really the important aspect of this thing. We got here this far. Let's make it work.
Hannah Storm and the Showtime crew are standing by, and after that, the tip-off for Game 1 of the NBA Finals.
The road to the NBA Finals concludes with the two best home teams in the league. And the team that has won Game 1 has gone on to win 7 of the last 8 NBA titles. Hi, everybody. Hannah Storm and our NBA Showtime perch here at the Staples Center, along with Isaiah Thomas and Bill Walton, and Peter Vesey will join us shortly from courtside. Well, Bill, the question everyone wants to know is, how are the Pacers going to slow down the league MVP? I know you talked to Larry Bird a few minutes ago.
And Hannah, Larry said it was just like when he was a player for the Celtics in the 80s, when Larry and the Celtics had to go through Kareem. Right now, it's Shaq. And to be successful against Shaq, you got to limit his position and his options. On the offensive end, the Indiana Pacers, they've got to get physical and keep Shaq away from the basket. They've got to swarm and collapse on him. When Shaq's playing defense, you have to attack him, occupy him on the ball. Don't let him be a shot blocker out there. Now, the Indiana Pacers, I talked to them, and to a man, they are not just happy to be here. They are a very, very confident team. They think they can win this whole thing. Although Larry Bird did say he'd rather be playing tonight.
And their chances are probably better with him on the court. Isaiah, what do you look for tonight?
Well, I look for the Pacers using Rick Smits and Mark Jackson in a lot of high pick and roll. The Lakers will invert their defense, meaning AC Green will guard Rick Smits. You'll watch Mark Jackson come off the high pick and roll. Rick Smits will have as much as he can eat from the foul line tonight because he can make that shot. Shaq will be underneath. Rick Smits will be guarded by a smaller AC Green, 7'4", shooting over 6'8". I think the Pacers are the smartest team playing in basketball right now, and if they can keep games close, I think they'll win because of their intellectual capacity.
You think they'll win the series?
I like the Pacers in 6.
Wow.
Wait a minute. You sound like a man who wants to coach the Indiana Pacers. You want the Pacers, well, you think the Pacers are going to win. You're wearing Laker colors. You got a purple shirt on and a yellow tie. What's going on here?
And Bill, of course, neutral as always.
I can't comment. Bill wins.
On that note, let's go down to the court where Peter Vesey is standing by. And Peter, what's going on down there moments before the game?
Well, as Bill Walton said, the Pacers are feeling very confident right now. I asked them, why is that possible? They said, because all the pressure is on the Lakers. They're the ones that are favored. I asked Derek McKee, I said, why do you think that you can beat these guys? Why aren't you intimidated? He says, well, we'd be in awe of these guys if they had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy, and Magic Johnson out there. But hey, we can play with these guys. And then we go over to the Lakers locker room. Now, they are favored, but they're also flawed. A Laker official told me today that he thought they lost their edge a couple months ago, and that was reinforced when Shaquille O'Neal the other day wrote that he thought the Lakers had won the finals by beating Portland. If they don't have an attitude adjustment, the Lakers will have some concern here.
Thanks, Peter. Well, they don't hand out rings for conference championships. We'll be closing in on the tip-off of the 2000 NBA Finals. The Pacers and the Lakers will return to the Staples Center right after these messages.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Killian's Irish Red, which reminds you one look says a lot. By Nissan. Driven by Net Zero, defenders of the free world. Free internet access forever. Call 1-800-DEFENDER. And by the new Bic Soft Wind. It's all you need for a great shave.
lineups for Game 1 of the NBA Finals. The front line of the Pacers, Rick Smits at 7'4" and 265, given the assignment, at least initially, of dealing with Shaquille O'Neal, but obviously the Pacers will try and give him help. Reggie Miller, the all-time leader in three-pointers made in regular season and playoff history of the NBA. And Mark Jackson, a 13-year veteran. As is Miller, finally making a trip to the NBA Finals. Larry Bird, the NBA's Coach of the Year, his first season in 1998 with the Pacers, has them in the Finals, and this is third and last season. Shaquille O'Neal led the league in scoring, and he leads the playoffs in scoring and rebounding. Kobe Bryant and Ron Harper in their backcourt, and as Doug Collins pointed out on the opening, Bryant against Reggie Miller head-to-head, which will occur at least part of the time, is one of the matchups to savor in this series. Phil Jackson, highest regular season and playoff winning percentage of any coach in NBA history. Let's check with Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Bob. I talked to Ron Harper before the game. He said that last series did wonders for them, and not only tested them as a team, but having to play every couple of days gave them a chance to really get into a rhythm as a team, which is important going into the finals. Shaquille O'Neal told me he's focused, intense, ready to let his play do his talking. And Kobe Bryant is the most excited person in this entire deal and said he spent his life watching the finals. Now it's his turn to play in them. For more on the Indiana Pacers, let's go down to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Ahmad. Well, many of the Indiana Pacers were very late in their arrival at the game today. In fact, their entire second bus didn't get here until an hour and 5 minutes before the game. They were stuck on the 10 freeway. Many of them, including Larry Bird, Dale Davis, Jalen Rose, Travis Best, and in the background, Mark Jackson were on that bus. They were unable to get their normal routine. Instead, they were anxious, cramped up on a bus. Jalen Rose said he thought that the bus driver had to be a Laker fan, and in fact, many of them felt that they should have had a police escort, and they're very concerned about how effective they will be at the beginning of the game. On another situation, Larry Bird says, we know we can beat this team. However, our confidence isn't always there. It comes and goes. Tonight will set the tone for the entire series. Bob?
Jim, thank you. The officials are Danny Crawford, Jack Nees, and Terry Durham.
Bob, I think the thing to watch here earlier, what are the matchups going to be? Reggie Miller told us yesterday that he was going to guard Kobe Bryant, but let's see how the Lakers match up against the Pacers.
LA puts it in the hands of Ron Harper. Glenn Rice for three. Left all alone on the game's first possession. He's the best three-point shooter over the course of the season that the Lakers have, but he couldn't hit that one.
Now, Indiana loves to establish Rick Smits early. Let's see if they go to him in the post against Shaquille. Miller runs off the screen. Harper is on it. Here is Smits with the jump hook. That's an air ball into the hands of A.C. Green. Ron Harper finds Shaq. He's double-teamed, his pass deflected, and stolen by Dale Davis. Mark Jackson pushes it up the floor, finds Jalen Rose. And the Pacers take a 2-0 lead. Big basket there for Jalen Rose. He must get off to a good start. Early in the playoff box, he has struggled where he's drifted early in games and tried to get going later, and it's been too late for the Pacers in many instances. Miller's on Bryant. Kobe to the baseline. Here's his turnaround to tie the game. What a tough shot. Bryant is guarding Mark Jackson, at least at the outset. Rose comes off the pick for the jumper, and O'Neal claims the rebound. Pass in the lane to Glenn Rice on the game's first whistle. We have some really good matchups out there. Jalen Rose and Glenn Rice. Jalen's going to have to do a good job chasing Rice around screens. That time he tried to get a quick post up, and Rose has got to stay out of foul trouble. They need him out there on the floor. Here's Bryant, and now Harper looking for Shaq, who takes it in deep, and you can't stop that. Well, if you're going to let him get it that deep, you cannot let him foul, get the basket and the foul. Little interchange underneath the basket, and the Pacers got confused. Now watch as Shaq steps over, and Dale Davis allows him to get right in front of him. And we talked about when he gets it that deep, you can't get into the double team. Shaq finishes it, and he gets the foul.
A strange bounce to complete the three-point play. He's now hitting right at 50% in the playoffs. He made 2 huge free throws with 2.5 minutes to go to tie the game against Portland on Sunday in a clutch situation. Reggie Miller on the move, misses off the glass, but Dale Davis is there to follow.
He is their best rebounder. You must block him off that offensive backboard.
Kobe Bryant. They're looking for O'Neal. Harper has it knocked away into the hands of A.C. Green, whose jumper is off. The rebound squirts out of bounds, and they award the ball to Indiana.
Dale Davis very fortunate there that he did not get an over-the-back foul. Knocked that ball loose, and the Pacers get it. But, Bob, I think if there's one thing you have to really watch, the Pacers are not a good rebounding team. The Lakers an excellent offensive rebounding team.
Mark Jackson off to Reggie Miller, and now Smits will try the jump hook again. Davis on the offensive glass. Miller for 3. It rattles out, and the rebound is poked out, touched last by Dale Davis. You were talking about Pacer rebounding. Davis is averaging 12 a game in the playoffs, but their next highest rebounder, Jalen Rose, is only around 4. Davis doesn't have much help. Smits is 7-4, but he's not a good rebounder.
That's why you've got a team rebound. All 5 guys on the floor have got to go to the board. You can't leak out looking for the fast break.
Shaquille O'Neal showing early signs of just overpowering the Pacers in the paint.
If you get to him late, you cannot stop him. Mark Jackson came down there, the little bump, and Shaq just finished it.
Mark Jackson around Bryant, and Kobe fouled him.
So much of Shaq's effectiveness is where he catches the ball. The quick spin move, he gets deep in the lane. Mark Jackson a little slow getting down there, and then he just punishes him with that elbow. He steps through. So if you're going to come down double team, you got to get there quickly and force him to pass that ball out.
The Pacers are a great free throw shooting team. One of the best all-round shooting teams in the league. Any way you break it down, 2-point field goal percentage. They've got a slew of guys who can hit the 3. Jackson makes 1 of 2. They've started just 2 of 7 from the floor in this game.
I think if the Pacers are going to win, there's 2 areas they have to win. They have to win the battle of the free throw line, and more importantly, they have to win the battle of that 3-point line decisively.
Shaquille O'Neal way out high. Harper.
It's very difficult for Rick Smits to play any kind of screen roll action. When he has to show out, he's normally a half step late. The Lakers know that, and they're going to that.
Miller into Smits. Another try. He's 0 for 3 with that same move, but he can get it off against O'Neal.
Well, he's had great shots. He's just got to finish.
A.C. Green. And the NBA's Iron Man, who last missed a game in November of 1986, hits that one to give them a 6-point lead.
I think he's happy not to see Rasheed Wallace, Chris Webber, and all the forwards from Phoenix.
Now it's the jumper for Smits, and that works better than the hook.
He has got to continue to shoot the basketball. They've got to keep Shaquille busy. They can't let him just stay back there in the paint and roam on the defensive end. Burden knows that. That's why he's already got 4 shots at the basket.
Here's Rice, guarded by Rose. Off to Green, 5 seconds to shoot, and AC can't make it 2 in a row. Jackson will push it up the floor. Dale Davis. His turnaround jumper rattles out. That's really not his game. He can get it off against AC Green, but that's really not part of his repertoire. Here's Harper to the left hand on the run. Count the basket and bring it to the line.
Ron Harper has been terrific in the playoffs, and more importantly, the deeper we're getting into the playoffs, the better he is playing. Against Portland, he was terrific. Ron Harper not known now for his quick forays to the basket. A little off-the-leg runner with his left hand, the foul, an opportunity for a 3-point play. But Ron Harper, Bob, I thought was a real key in that Portland series. Big baskets, the things he did. And remember in that Game 7, he had a couple shots early. I thought really settled his team down, gave them some confidence.
Kobe Bryant says of Harper, he knows where to hide in the offense and sneak some of those open shots. Smits from the head of the key. He has that kind of range, and now after missing his first 3, he's hit 2 straight.
We've said over and over in the playoffs, the team that can cause Shaq some problems are a team that has a big man that can step out and shoot. Well, Rick Smits and Sam Perkins can both do that.
Kobe Bryant.
You have no shot blocking, and the Lakers know that. Remember now when they played against Portland, you had some long, rangy athletes back there changing shots. Just right to the basket for Kobe.
Reggie Miller with the catch and shoot that rattles out. O'Neal forces up a jumper, bad shot, into the hands of Davis. Mark Jackson finds Smits, who looked for Davis. Jackson tries to save it. It winds up in Green's hands, but not for long. Off his fingertips and out of bounds.
Bob, my question is, Rick Smits has got a wide open shot. He's just hit 2 in a row. He passes it up and tries to throw it to Dale Davis. Shoot the basketball. Well, Isaiah Thomas talked about in Showtime to watch the high screen roll with Smits and Mark Jackson. Well, here's one of them right here. There's Shaq. He drops back into the lane. Smits is going to pop out. He's going to have a little open jump shot, and he buries it. Now, he had hit a jump hook prior. He knocks this one down. Now, the next time down the floor, look where Shaquille is here. Wide open shot, and he tries to pass the ball to Dale Davis, who's not a shooter. You got to shoot the basketball. That's what they need from Smits to be able to open that lane up so that Reggie Miller, Jalen Rose, Mark Jackson, Travis Best, these guys can penetrate and do what they do best.
Not only did the Pacers pass up a golden opportunity for an open jump shot, it almost resulted in a fast break basket for the Lakers, but they couldn't control it, so the Pacers have it back. Harper on Miller, as he has been from the outset, and a whistle away from the ball. Foul is on Glenn Rice. That's his first.
Mark Jackson was trying to free Jalen Rose so he could post up there in the lane, and Rice just sort of ran through the pick, didn't try to avert it.
Miller against Harper. To the baseline, the running one-hander is blocked by O'Neal, and he recovers it as well. Out to Bryant. Kobe pulls up and hits.
The presence of Shaquille O'Neal, that's why Smits has got to make jump shots, and you can see what happened. They forced Reggie Miller baseline right into the shot blocker. Harper's getting up on him and taking away his quick shot.
Smits from Jackson gives it back to him. 5 seconds to shoot, and Jackson will, and he hits the 3.
That's a big shot now because Indiana, it's important for them to stay close in the first quarter. Bird told us yesterday they want to be within 5. They feel if they do that, they got a great chance to win the game.
Here's Bryant, who's hit all 3 of his field goal attempts. O'Neal juggles it, recovers. Not only hits the basket, but as you were saying, Doug, once he's in that deep, it's almost impossible to wrap him up, and any foul only contributes to a 3-point play possibility and to getting the Pacers front line into foul trouble.
Well, how about the agility of Shaquille O'Neal? It was a tough pass. He goes down and gets it, juggles it, and then finds the handle finally and finishes it. When you look at the Indiana Pacers, they're not a team that has great depth on that front line. You're talking about a Dale Davis, a Smith. You come in with Perkins. Other than that, they don't have the big bodies to be able to waste those kind of fouls. They have to be very careful with that.
The foul was Smits first. Miller has missed his first 4 field goal attempts. Here he is on the move, trying the reverse, make it 0 for 5, and Rice picks it up. Bryant tried to lob it for Shaq, and Davis swatted it down.
Ron Harper's done a real nice job here early against Reggie Miller. Now remember, they go back to playing in the 7th game, or excuse me, the series in when it was Chicago and Indiana when the Eastern Conference Finals a couple years ago. So these two guys know each other very well. Harper's doing a good job on him right now.
AC Green. Mark Jackson has the rebound. Reggie against Kobe. Falling. He flings it out to Jackson. Now Jalen Rose. Jackson back to Smits. Mark Jackson on the offensive glass.
Beautiful basketball, though. Mark Jackson penetrates. Shaq's waiting there, and what he does, he finds Smits. Now, although Smits missed the jumper, Mark Jackson right there to finish up on the offensive rebound.
O'Neal, little fadeaway.
Wow, how good was that footwork? It looked like he was going to shoot a jump hook in the lane. He spun out and shot a fading jump shot on the baseline.
And he scored 9. Good start for him. Jalen Rose. Shaq has the rebound, and here comes Kobe Bryant. Stutter stepping, spinning. His shot blocked by Smits, and Smits recovers it, but his pass is deflected and stolen by Rice. Kobe!
Indiana is not a team with good foot speed. Kobe knows that. The rest of the team knows that when they get a chance, they're putting the ball on the deck and going right to the basket. No shot blocking. The rim is open.
Reggie Miller still hasn't hit one. He's 0 for 6.
He's had about 5 really good shots and rattled about 4 of them in and out. He's got to continue to shoot it. We know he will.
Bryant, Smits out on him on a switch. Here's Shaq for the jumper from the baseline that beats the shot clock and establishes a 12-point lead at 26-14. The Pacers ask for time. The combo is doing it to him in this first quarter.
Well, once again, we talk about Shaquille O'Neal. Look at the footwork. It looks like he's going to shoot the little jump hook. He fades and shoots the spinning shot on the baseline. Then Kobe Bryant comes back. Watch this quick first step. Mark Jackson gets beat. No help as Smits is slow getting there. Kobe with the powerful finish. Then they come back to combo once again. The screen roll. Smits cannot hold up Kobe. Shaq rolls out and hits the jumper at the end of the shot clock. The Lakers are off to a great start. They lead by 12.
Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant have 19 of the Lakers' 26 points. Late in the fourth quarter of their miraculous comeback in Game 7 on Sunday against Portland, the two hooked up for one of the most memorable plays in Laker history.
I was telling him all night, drop it off, drop it off. So that play, he was coming to the lane after he crossed Scottie up and we caught eye contact, and he just threw it up where I live at.
I felt like we put our stamp and we made our mark in the league. Because other players around the league are watching. And they saw what took place. They know me and Shaq have a connection, and I think the thing that people feared the most has occurred. And Shaq and I are both on the same page.
More importantly, not only on the same page, but thriving. And look what they've done here to get started. 9 of 11 from the floor. Shaq has already attempted 6 shots tonight, 9 all of Game 7 against Portland, into a great early rhythm as Rose turns the ball over. And Bob, what I've seen here, what the Lakers are doing, they're getting the ball up the floor quickly, hitting Pacers with early offense, and the Pacers have not been able to double them.
They tried the lob to Bryant, and it didn't work. Here comes Reggie Miller. Sam Perkins is in for Indiana. So is Austin Crozier. This is Crozier with the ball on the drive, and he was fouled. Robert Horry is in the lineup now for the Lakers, and he picked up the foul, his first. Let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, thanks, Bob. During that last timeout, Larry Bird told us guys, hey, guys, you're doing all right. We're playing well. Everything's going to be fine. Some of these shots will start to go down. I'm not concerned about our offense, but, guys, you've got to quit gambling on defense. Bob?
Thanks, Jim. Austin Crozier, an 85% free throw shooter, misses the first. He's in his 3rd year out of Providence. He played all of 1 minute in last year's playoffs, but he's become an important player this year for the Pacers.
And you can already see the chess game here in Game 1. The moment Austin Crozier came in the game, Robert Horry came in the game to defend against him. Why? Because he's quicker and can get out on the floor better than AC Green. So you're starting to see what the coaches are thinking in their matchups.
In deep to O'Neal. Harper's 4th assist. He's chipped in with 5 points as well.
Well, we talked about it in our open. When he gets the ball that deep, it's too late. He will punish you. He's the most dominant player in the game. Off to a terrific start.
He's got 13. His team leads by 13. And a whistle on the shot by Jalen Rose, and it's going against the Pacers. Austin Crozier with his first.
Now look where Shaquille O'Neal is going to be right here. When he gets that ball in the painted area, you have no chance to defend him. More importantly, you can't get back and help. Sam Perkins has no chance. He's overpowered down on that low block.
O'Neal's turnaround. Well, if he's going to hit that, in addition to overpowering you inside, you might as well wave the white flag of surrender. Austin Crozier with that quick first step, and Ori bodied him to pick up his second foul.
The Lakers have come out and they said, you know what, we're going to go in, we're going to test to see what they're going to do defensively. We've seen a lot of single coverage, but more importantly, Shaquille is getting great position and he's getting the ball in great rhythm. Portland disrupted his rhythm. That is not happening here tonight.
Folks, you can log on to NBA.com to follow tonight's Lakers-Pacers game with Sync TV, the ultimate online companion to each NBA Finals television broadcast. This unique component provides fans with real-time stats, polls, and the ability to interact with special guest hosts and other fans online. NBA.com, Sync TV, your cutting-edge way to follow the NBA Finals 2000. Not much going right for the Pacers, the league's best free throw shooting team, and they're misfiring from there as well.
Well, again, they have to shoot a high percentage from the line and behind that three-point line, and that's not happening right now. One-on-one coverage here with Shaq.
Leaving Harper alone for three.
It's all going right now for the Lakers. They're just picking and choosing their spots. And Indiana is a good defensive team, but they don't have the quickness to rotate out to those shooters once they swarm Shaq.
Mark Jackson backing in, slipping Bryant and scoring.
And Kobe's playing him to try to take away that post up.
Bryant from half court to beat the buzzer. And that's about the only thing that didn't work out in this first quarter for the Lakers. They lead it by 15. Against Portland, the Lakers generally started slowly. They break from the gate like gangbusters here in Game 1, and you're watching the NBA Finals on NBC.
Reggie Miller has gotten off to a slow start tonight. It's been a combination of good Laker defense and also some tough luck on his shots. But what they're doing is they're crowding him. Harper sending him baseline, forcing him into a tough shot or a shot blocker here once again, taking him away from that catch and shoot. Now this is a great look by Reggie. Boom, and it rattles in and out. Those are the shots that Bird has talked about. Those will fall. But Reggie 0 for 6, combination of good defense and some tough luck on some shots.
If you think for a second, and I know you don't, Coach, that he's going to be daunted by this, you don't build a reputation as one of the great clutch shooters of all time in this league and then have your confidence shaken by missing a half dozen of them in one quarter. He will continue to fire.
Couldn't agree with you more. And when we talked to him yesterday, he said that. He said, I'm in the NBA Finals. I'm going to go down shooting. If we're going to lose, I'm going to shoot the basketball. Now you've got Kobe matched up against Reggie here as we start the second quarter.
Because Travis Best is in to run the point, replacing Mark Jackson, and Derek Fisher is guarding him, and Best gives them instant offense. He's just a little guy, only 5'11", but he's very adept at doing what you just saw him do. When confronted by a bigger defender, in this case the biggest Shaq, he can lob his shot high, and he's accurate with it. O'Neal out of the double to Rice. He's guarded by the veteran Derek McKee. Shaq finds Fox around the perimeter to Fisher, and Derek Fisher has his shot come out for him, and McKee takes the rebound. Crozier against Fox, into the paint, and scoring off the glass.
And he's got to remember, when Rick Fox plays you in the post, he's not going to block your shot. He's going to try to strip you on the way up. So once he gets position, he's got to protect the ball just like he did that time.
Lakers by 11. Bryant over Miller. And he traveled.
Travis Best is in the game right now to do a couple things. First of all, to try to slow the ball coming up the floor, and secondly, to try to increase the tempo of the game, get some easy baskets. He's quick, he's strong, and as you said, Bob, he loves that little floater in the lane.
In the first quarter, Indy, the best shooting team all around in the league, 7 for 20. Lakers, 15 for 22. Sam Perkins misses the three, but Crozier is there. Very versatile player, Crozier. He has outside range on his jumper, quick first step, and after putting on 20 pounds lifting weights in the offseason, he's rugged enough to do some dirty work inside.
Well, one of the reasons they traded Antonio Davis was they felt like Sam Perkins needed to play about 20 minutes, and they needed to get Crozier on the floor for things just like that.
O'Neal backing down on Perkins, and it comes up short. In fact, he drew air with it. Sam Perkins driving on Shaq, and it looks like O'Neal fouled him. That'll be his first.
Austin Crozier has come in and given his team a nice lift. They needed some energy. More importantly, they need somebody to put the ball in the basket. He backs down Rick Fox, lays the ball in the basket. Then the next time, he comes circling in from the wing, swooping in with the offensive rebound and the finish. The Pacers now are within 9. Chris Mullin likes it. And you're watching the NBA playoffs on NBC.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. It's in the NBA. Is it in you? By 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls. By Chrysler. These will never land on an ordinary car. And by Adidas. Long live sport.
After trailing by 17, the Pacers have scored 8 unanswered points. Here's Austin Crozier backing in on Fox, knocking him backwards and scoring. And now let's listen to the audio from Larry Bird during the last timeout.
Fox now, he tries to flop every time, okay? So you feel a little contact, go away from him. Play, gang. Here we go, Sammy!
You know, when we spoke to Reggie Miller yesterday, I asked him about Larry Bird. I said, have you seen a difference as he's prepared for the Lakers? He said, you bet. He has seen that Lakers across that jersey, and it brings back all kind of memories. He's more animated than I've seen him in about 3 years, and this is where they really need his championship experience as they try to claw back after a slow start.
Sam Perkins will be 39 in a week, says this will be his last season, hits the first one as we check with him on.
All right, thanks, Bob. During that last time out, the Lakers had a discussion about their defense. Shaq asked him, the coach, should they rotate? And Coach Phil Jackson said, no, just show and go back and recover. Told them they were really getting out of their offense and not moving the ball, and they got to really get down on the offensive rebounding. Bob?
Here's Fisher on the drive, and he manages to hit it despite Crozier taking a last-second swipe at it.
That's a great matchup. Travis Best and Derek Fisher's two very strong, quick, left-handed guards.
That basket stopped. The 10-0 Indiana run. Miller knocked back in his face by Ori. Reggie still can't get on track. Kobe Bryant. And Best claims the rebound.
Reggie needs a layup for a couple free throws. Let's see if he can get to the line.
Crozier for 3, way off. Miller trying for the save, but it's into the hands of Ori. Rick Fox in transition. Misses the pull-up. Pacers just trying to weather the storm here, and they've come back from 17 down to make it a bit more reasonable.
The Lakers are advancing the ball so quickly, they're getting high percentage shots most every time.
Best from behind the screen set by Perkins. It's a 2-point basket.
Now, the Pacers have two different personalities. Mark Jackson's a quarterback, comes in, runs a team. Then Travis Best looks to score, looks to push the ball. We're seeing that right now here as they've made the offensive substitution.
O'Neal backing in on Perkins. McKee there with the help, but it's not enough.
I'm shocked that they allowed Shaq to take 2 dribbles, turn, and lay that ball in the basket. They cannot win this game if they give him those kind of baskets.
He's already scored 17. Best on the move, and a Laker foul.
Shaq gets the ball in the lane. You're going to see the 1 bounce, the 2 bounce. He picks it up. And look how close he is to the basket. He just muscles in and lays the ball in the basket. That's like a 2-foot shot. And I think we've seen as Shaq has played and scored those kind of baskets during the playoffs, he just wears down and demoralizes the opponent.
Reggie Miller sits down. Jalen Rose is back in. Perkins for 3. Travis Best gives them a fresh 24. Rose doesn't use much of it as he swishes one from beyond the arc.
That's the strength of the Pacers, and it was come off an offensive rebound. Inside out, quick 3 by Rose.
And they're within 6. It's the Lakers who ask for time. A 17-point lead is down to 6.
The Pacers are not a good offensive rebounding team. Who gets it? The smallest man on the floor, Travis Best. He finds Jalen Rose, who knocks in the 3. Reggie off to a slow start, and the Pacers hanging in there with a 15-4 run.
Phil Jackson has won 6 titles as an NBA coach, has another ring as a player with the Knicks. Only Red Auerbach has more NBA coaching titles than Jackson's 6. Red won 9. Meanwhile, Larry Bird's Pacers are on a 15-4 run and coming back in this game without a contribution to this point from Reggie Miller, who at the moment is seated and has shot 0 for 7 to this point in the game.
Well, I talked about rebounding being vital for the Pacers. They have 5 offensive rebounds, 9-0 on the offensive boards, 12-2 bench scoring, so the bench doing a good job.
Bryant with the miss, O'Neal with the recovery, and he scored 19 points, and we still have 7.5 minutes to play in the second quarter.
Now, Bird told us yesterday he didn't think they could win if Shaq was going to get 35 or more points. Well, he's on pace for over 40 right now.
Perkins, Bryant on him on a switch. McKee has it poked away by Horry. Kobe's got it. O'Neal in the lane, feeling it now, up with the jumper. And Crozier takes the rebound. Best. Crozier delivers a splattering screen on Fisher. And now Terry Durham blows the whistle. This Crozier is a rugged customer.
This was great, though, because Derek Fisher just tried to run into the screen and flop back and draw the attention. The referee would not bite on it. Then Crozier sees the mismatch, goes right into the post. Fisher locks him up, and he gets the foul. That was great refereeing by Terry Durham there.
And now Danny Crawford spots something.
It's an offensive foul on Jalen Rose. Looks like Eddie's arms behind him and tried to lock in Kobe Bryant in the post. That will be his second foul.
That's 2 on Rose, the Pacers' leading scorer this year, and voted the league's most improved player. First time Reggie Miller hasn't led Indiana in scoring since 1989. Bryant lays it off to Horry.
The dribble penetration and the quickness of Kobe Bryant is really causing problems for the Pacer perimeter guys. When he gets in there, the back line steps up, he lays it off, and it's a layup or a dunk.
And the lead is back to 10. As Best makes his move, there's another offensive foul on the Pacers. And it's Crozier's second.
When you break down the defense and get it in the painted area, the back line has to step up, and when they do, Horry rolls right to the basket and finishes it off.
Fox from Fisher. That was a beauty.
Right now, their offense is totally in sync, and you know what? When you only play a team twice, east-west like these guys do, I think the Pacers are struggling to the rhythm right now of this triangle offense. They're going to figure out the trigger points.
These teams split their 2 meetings during the year, each one at home, and right now on their home floor, the Lakers, after this basket by Fox, are back in front by 12. You're watching the NBA playoffs on NBC.
Hi, everybody. Hannah Storm coming up on Net Zero at the half. We'll hear from Lakers center Shaquille O'Neal, whose dominant play forces frequent double and triple teams, which is nothing new for the league's MVP.
I'm used to it. It's been happening ever since elementary school when I was when I was about this high, when I used to, you know, dominate the other kids. The parents used to go, he's not 7. I want to see his birth certificate right now. He's not 7 years old.
Shaquille O'Neal, as you've rarely seen him, with Ahmad Rashad coming up at halftime. Let's go back down courtside to Bob and Doug.
Hannah, thank you. Shaq with 19 already in this game. Reggie Miller, meanwhile, has been blanked.
The last possession, Austin Crosher comes up to set the screen, moves just a little bit. Fisher falls, and they call the offensive foul on Crosher. Larry Bird wanted an explanation from Danny Crawford.
But you know what? Austin stepped over into him, and he tripped over Austin's leg. So that step over, well, but there's time and distance on that screen. He's got to allow him time and distance to change direction. He goes right to the contact. Okay. I think there's time and distance involved in that, Larry, because it's a screen.
That's a tough call because you've got the guy setting the screen, and normally when a call is made like that, really the reason it happens because Travis Best didn't wait for the screen to develop. He went too early and got the foul against Crosher.
Here's Travis Best, who usually plays the second and fourth quarters, while Jackson starts and plays the third quarter. Jalen Rose, nice move.
Quick move there, and Robert Horry, they got caught in a switch, and Rose, way too quick for him, just blows right by him. Now the Pacers got to let their defense go to work here right now. Again, Bob, the Lakers in too great a rhythm, just passing, cutting, going wherever they want to go on the floor.
O'Neal's cross-court pass finds Fox. Now he's got Horry on the baseline for the jumper that's good.
Again, what happens? They got in the lane. The defense collapses, and you find the open man. That's why you have to control dribble penetration.
Sam Perkins on the run, and O'Neal says, get it out of here. Fox. And a 3-second violation on the Lakers.
A lot of people might be wondering, where is Brian Shaw? We have not seen him tonight. But one of the reasons is because Phil Jackson wants Derek Fisher to match up against Travis Best. He feels like that's a better matchup. So, again, we always talk about the game of chess and the chess moves that these coaches make and how it is in matchups. And that's why you're seeing Fisher instead of Shaw.
Shaw has been red hot, as those of you who followed the Portland series know. Kobe caught something up around the face, in the area of the mouth, it appears. Shaw has made 7 of his last 8 3-point attempts, but he hasn't gotten off the bench tonight.
Little flash cut here off Sam Perkins. As Jalen Rose goes down, he inadvertently gets his arm up and cracks Kobe in the mouth. That was inadvertent contact, but nonetheless, Kobe got the worst to wear on that one.
Reggie Miller's back in for the Pacers. Rose with the running one-hander that doesn't fall. And Horry takes it for the Lakers.
Look how quickly they're advancing the ball. Nobody has stopped it. They got it in the scoring area in 19 seconds. Only 5 seconds off the clock.
O'Neal against the smaller Perkins. Now they surround him. He gets the roll, scores the basket, comes to the line.
Larry Bird cannot be happy at the rhythm that they've allowed Shaquille O'Neal to get in here early in this half after being shackled by Portland with the swarming defense. Now they get back, but look, they give him enough space where he just goes up in between basically 3 defenders. You have got to get your body chest up against him. He gets the kind roll and a 3-point play opportunity as Kobe Bryant checks out of the game, and now we finally see Brian Shaw.
With Rick Smits not in the game, as Shaq can't complete the 3-point play, but Derek Fisher claims the rebound to Rice. Horry is there. Rice has it back, and he was fouled.
Now we're starting to see the Lakers offensive rebounding. Look at the team that the Pacers have on the floor. Dale Davis is a good rebounder, but they have a small team. All 5 guys must rebound. They give up a second shot off a Shaq missed free throw. Then Horry swoops in, finds Rice, who drives the ball right to the basket to draw the foul.
Starter to say with Smits not in the game, and now he checks back in. They had no one within 3 inches of Shaq in height. And obviously they have no one, Smits included, anywhere near his bulk and strength. Coverage of the French Open continues this Friday at 10 Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll bring you coverage of the men's semifinals in this grueling Grand Slam test. The French Open presented by BNP Paribas Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on NBC. Rice hits 1 of 2, and the Lakers lead again by 15. Working on Fisher. Misses badly on the run, and O'Neal takes it on the other side of the hoop. Shaw swings it to Fisher, and now Shaq against Smits. Miller over to help. Shaw's left alone for 3. Almost made his 8th and 9 tries, but it popped out. But Ori is on the offensive glass. They go to Shaq. Misses off the glass, and Smits has the rebound. Jalen Rose for 3.
Well, that's a big basket right there. Was slipping away from the Pacers. Jalen Rose doing what the Pacers do best. Early offense and shoot that quick 3. Well, they shot over 18 threes a game this year. That's a big strength of their team. They've got to knock some shots in.
Shaw lost it on the way to the hoop. And Indiana touched it last. The Lakers will keep it, no foul.
Talking about early offense, watch the shot clock. You see how quickly it takes him to get the ball up the floor. And within 5 seconds, Rose has a 3.
Back live, Rice on the drive of the jam. His first field goal of the game, he scored 3.
Well, I always talk about how you finish quarters and halves. The Pacers need a strong finish here. They don't want to go in 16 or 18 down at half.
That won't help as Smits lost it. Shaw to his old Orlando teammate, O'Neal. Shaw's got it back now. Fisher for 3.
Inside, outside, double team, swing the ball, Fisher 3. Lakers by 17, a little over 2 minutes to go here in the half. Lakers have been brilliant here to start game 1.
Smits, short. Taken by Shaw. The Lakers have reestablished their biggest lead, 17. Indiana had whittled the first 17-point deficit back down to 6.
Now Rose has 2 fouls. Rice is trying to attack him to get the 3rd.
Instead, it's an offensive foul. And it's number 2 on Rice.
Made a conscious effort here to try to get Jalen Rose out of the ball game. They go right to Glenn Rice. You see that right arm pushes off. And Rose avoids his 3rd foul.
Screening for Rose. Now he has it back. Driving on O'Neal to the left hand. And a whistle on his move. The Pacers want a goaltending, but they're not going to get it. Instead, O'Neal is hit with his 2nd foul.
When you have to go out and close out on a shooter, you've got to be able to move your feet. You see the block up top, but Shaq had his hand riding him on his hip on the way to the basket. That's why you'll get a 2-shot foul here.
Smits, the 34-year-old from the Netherlands, dubbed the Duncan Dutchman, hits the 1st. Travis Knight makes his first appearance in quite a while, replacing Shaq, who sits down with 21 points and 7 rebounds.
Now, in the regular season, the 2 games, Shaq got 53 field goal attempts, about 26 and a half a game. Tonight, already 14. So he's getting a shot attempts. More importantly, the Pacers aren't putting him on the free throw line. He shot only 11 free throws in the 2 games, so they have not fouled him in the 2 games this year either.
That pass went astray, but there's a foul just as it does. It's number 2 on Smits. Indiana has had an unusual postseason in that obviously they played well enough to reach the finals. They've also had some terrible games. Milwaukee led them by 31 points in 2 different games, both of which they won by 13 in round 1. So they're susceptible to blowouts. Travis Knight, 2 seconds to shoot, and Knight misses long. Exactly a minute to play in the half. Austin Crozier.
Wow, he has been really aggressive. They've gone to him in that low post, and whoever's guarded him, he's been able to get the advantage. What a big lift off the bench, Bob. He's been for these Pacers.
He scored 8. Glenn Rice. Travis Knight.
I hate to tell you, but the Pacers are doing a terrible job on the defensive backboard right now. After getting off to a great start, the Lakers are now pounding him on the offensive board.
And Crozier was pounded by Knight, but had the strength to finish the play. Austin Crozier, a big bright spot in an otherwise dreary first half for the Pacers.
Well, there's the isolation, this time against Robert Horry. He hangs in the air, fades, and makes a nice jump shot, and follows it up with a great move to the basket and has the wherewithal to be able to finish. He's going to get the bump. And this is where you got to get greedy. Don't think 2 free throws, think 3-point play.
He's the Pacers' leading scorer in the half now with 11.
Now Smith's out of the game because they don't want him to get his 3rd foul.
Here's Horry. Throws up a wild shot that's no good, but Travis Knight is there. Now it's Glenn Rice. Contact. Ball out of bounds, no foul.
When I spoke with the Pacers assistant, Rick Carlisle, before the game, he said, Doug, my biggest concern is our defensive rebounding and the Lakers going to the offensive board. Remember, Bob, in the first 2 rounds, the Lakers averaged almost 17 offensive rebounds a game. Against Portland, only 9. That's why Portland played them so well. They were able to shut down that offensive rebounding.
Bryant comes off the bench for the last possession, replacing Fisher. Here's Brian Shaw, wanted to take the 3. Best knocked it away. Now Best beats him to the ball and lofts it before the buzzer. Very nearly a brilliant play by Best to end the half. Reggie Miller said the Laker fans suited up would hate it. After he shoots 0 for 7 in the first half, they're loving him to this point. Shaq, meanwhile, hate to use the word, but sometimes cliches are true. Dominant, completely dominant. Kobe Bryant is with Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Bob. Kobe, playing every couple of days seems to have really done wonders for you guys because of the rhythms of your offense.
Yeah, well, we're playing with a nice rhythm right now. We have our beat down pat. The guys are a little tired, though. It's tough to kind of get our legs up after that 7th game we had.
Was one of the things you planned on doing is really getting into that early offense, pushing the ball and getting into it right away?
Yeah, well, they're a good team once they pack their defense in. So we feel like we can keep them moving and give Shaq some easy touches in the early offense, then we should be fine.
All right, good luck to you in the second half. All right, back to you, Bob.
Ahmad, thanks very much. Coming up, Hannah Storm, Isaiah Thomas, Bill Walton, and Peter Bessie with net 0 at the half. With the Lakers in front 55-43 in Game 1, you're watching the NBA Finals on NBC.
Net Zero. At the half, Net Zero, defenders of the free world. Free internet access and free email forever. www.netzero.net.
Halftime in Los Angeles, the Lakers lead the Pacers 55-43. The Lakers star, Shaquille O'Neal, has 21 points, but the Pacers star, Reggie Miller, 0 for 7 and has not scored in the first half of his first NBA Finals game. Hi, everybody. Hannah Storm, along with Isaiah Thomas and Bill Walton. Well, Bill, you talked to Larry Bird before the game about his strategy with Shaquille O'Neal, and I'm thinking maybe he's making a few adjustments right now.
We can only hope so, but when you're playing against a great player like Shaquille O'Neal, you have to make him work to find his game. Indiana, they're just letting Shaq roll into his game. Early on, Shaq, the game's greatest defensive player, he just denied Reggie Miller. That got fast break transition offense, and then Shaq got into his offensive rhythm by rolling into the hoop. The jumpers were falling. Then he starts picking the Pacers apart with pinpoint passing. Now, there's one theory that the Pacers may be using, and that's to let the big man roll, which he certainly is, and then everyone else just gets started around. But if you're going to play horrible defense out there, which the Pacers are doing, you've got to bring it to the offensive end. They're not doing it. Maybe the only explanation is that the Pacers are trying to get the Lakers overconfident.
Well, Isaiah picked the Pacers before the start of the game, and Isaiah, first of all, did they do anything positive in the first half?
Well, they did some positive things. The bench came through. Travis Best and Austin Crozier came off the bench, and they gave the Pacers some positive points. You see Crozier going, crashing the boards. Best was able to get into the lane, use his penetration and his quickness. The second half, they got to come back and get Miller more involved. Miller's got to get better shots. He's getting good looks right now. He's not knocking down those shots. And also Smits must get involved offensively. I think the Pacers are getting great shots. They just need to settle down and knock those shots in.
Why aren't they knocking them down? Are they nervous?
I just think it may be a little nerves. The first final trying to get up. I think right now when you look at the Pacers, I think the second half they'll come out, settle down, and they should knock those shots down because they've been making them all season.
Well, they can't get Miller going and they can't stop Shaquille O'Neal. Not a good combination. This has been a defining season for Shaquille O'Neal, MVP of the league, co-MVP of the All-Star game, the scoring champion, and of course, most importantly, has taken his team to the NBA Finals. On the court, Shaq often plays like a man among boys. As Ahmad Rashad found out, that's the way it's always been for Shaq.
I was always bigger than the average kid. Ever since elementary school, when I was about this high, and I used to, dominate the other kids. The parents used to go, "He's not 7. I want to see his birth certificate right now. He's not 7 years old."
He was always self-conscious of his size. Tall as he was the biggest thing in the classroom. I started teaching him basketball, and he was the tallest thing on the team then. And that helped a little bit because he would see how his height was to his advantage of everybody else.
Now, your father, biggest influence in your basketball?
Yes, he is. He taught me how to play. He taught me most of my moves. He taught me the beginner's moves. When he was teaching me how to block shots, he would say, do like Bill. Don't lean on him. Give yourself a little space. I want you to be dominant like Wilt. I want you to get there, get mean. You're 7 foot, be mean. Don't be nice. Don't shoot jumpers, be mean. Go strong.
Secret is me blocking shots and getting rebounds and making my shots well.
Here's Shaquille, another rejection. He'll take it on the
I first started hitting my dominant stage probably my senior year in high school. I used to come home from lunch, I used to go to the nearest park and just play. Something that I call dreamful attraction. It was just me putting myself against my favorite player. I was just out there every day in a hot Texas sun, playing against Akeem, playing against Pat, David, Dr. J, Magic, Bird. And I just used to dribble everywhere I go. I used to take the ball to school, and I used to sleep with the ball, and I used to dream with the ball.
The Los Angeles Lakers have acquired a 24-year-old superstar who we feel is going to bring us to that incredible level that this franchise has enjoyed in Los Angeles.
When did basketball become an obsession for you?
It was one single play that made me want to play basketball. When Dr. J was coming down, I think on the right side, and he looked like he was going to finger roll it, but he kind of cuffed it, and Michael Cooper jumped up, and at the last second he ducked, and he dunked it.
Here he comes. Way rock the baby to sleep and slam dunk.
That play right there made me want to go outside and just be like Dr. J, be like Dr. J. And then as I kept playing and I was talking to my father, be like Dr. J, be like Dr. J. You know, he sat me down and said, you know what? You don't want to be like Dr. J. You want to be better than Dr. J.
It's a pleasure to watch you grow. Congratulations, 1999-2000 NBA MVP, Shaquille O'Neal.
You understand some of the great players that have come before you. Does it make you uncomfortable, at least a little bit, when people say you could be the greatest big man of all time?
Of course, when your name is compared to greatness, that's an honor. Not every center can have, you know, certain guys say he's like Wilt, he's like Kareem, he's dominant, he's like Bill Russell. And, you know, for me, that's just an honor to have my name mentioned in the same breath with great players like those guys.
Well, Shaquille O'Neal's first trip to the NBA Finals was thoroughly forgettable, but here already he's provided a very memorable first half. Much more of Ahmad's interview with Shaq coming up this Sunday on our NBA 2000 special, The Finals. We'll also hear from Reggie Miller and WNBA star Cynthia Cooper, 5 o'clock Eastern Time on Sunday. And when we return, Peter Vesey joins us from news from around the league. But first, a message from Net Zero and a word from the NBA. In past years at this time, Michael Jordan has been searching for an NBA title. Well, now he's searching for a new head coach for the Washington Wizards. Jordan acknowledged today that Leonard Hamilton of the University of Miami is the leading candidate right now. The Wizards are just one of several teams looking for a coach. The New Jersey Nets also need one. Peter, what's the latest with their situation?
Well, Hannah, you know, the NBA pre-draft camp is going on in Chicago, and sources tell me that Rod Thorne, the new Nets president, interviewed Lenny Wilkens yesterday. He still has 2 more candidates, one of them being Eddie Jordan, the Nets assistant. The other one, I don't know who it is. He wants to make a decision before the draft. And then we go over to the trading stuff. We got Kembe Mutombo is being pursued by the Raptors. You know, Butch Carter is trying to unload 3 of the guys that he's having problems with: Antonio Davis, Charles Oakley, and Doug Christie. Now, I called a Hawk source. He would not confirm that the offer was made, but he said if anybody wants Dikembe Mutombo, they've got to give up an all-star. Back to you.
Certainly makes sense. Thanks a lot, Peter. Meanwhile, quickly at the French Open today, very light day of action. Martina Navratilova and Marianne Dufour lost a 3-set match in women's doubles. And on the men's side, Magnus Norman won his quarterfinal in 4 sets over Marat Safin, while Herbert Costa lost a 4-setter. Our coverage from Paris continues on Friday with the men's semifinals, 3 hours, beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The Lakers lead the Pacers by 12. We'll be back with the second half after these messages from your local station.
This has been Net Zero at the half. Net Zero, defenders of the free world. Free internet access and free email forever. Call 1-800-DEFENDER.
Through his 13-year career, Reggie Miller has averaged 23 points a game in the postseason. He's been blanked in the first half of his first finals game. Meanwhile, Shaquille O'Neal off to a monster game, 21 points and 7 rebounds. Back with Doug Collins, Bob Costas at the Staples Center, where the Lakers lead by 12 at halftime.
Well, Bob, we talked in the open about as Shaquille goes, so goes the Lakers. He's off to a great start. He has 21 points at half. They have 55. They feed off to him. But look how deep he's catching the basketball. When he gets it there, it's too late. Now, the double teams, but the slow reaction by Crozier to be able to get out and cover the shooter. So Harper knocks in the 3. And watch this. 1 bounce, 2 bounce, spins, still no help, and he lays the ball in the basket. You've got to go back and help on Shaq when that ball is in the air. Otherwise, you're going to get this kind of shot chart. Look at all those shots in the lane, 10 of 14. And then a tale of 2 shot charts. Reggie Miller, the wonderful job they've done on him. They've crowded him. They forced him to put it on the floor. They've chased him into a shot blocker. He's 0 for 7. He has got to come out with a huge third quarter to try to shoot his team back in this game.
Of Indiana's 2 concerns, Miller is the least. Eventually he'll hit, but how can they cope with Shaq? The Los Angeles Coliseum site of much of the activity at both the 32 and 84 Summer Olympic Games. We're exactly 100 days from the opening ceremony, September 15th, in Sydney for the 2000 Games.
Well, as we start this third period, when we talked to Larry Bird yesterday, he talked about how important it was for his starting team to get off to a good start in the first quarter and the third. First quarter disaster, down 15. Now what you're going to see is Kobe Bryant once again against Mark Jackson up the floor trying to pressure, make them use clock to get into their offense slowly. Let's see if they can get Miller a quick shot here.
Here's Reggie with the ball against Harper. He goes into Smits for the jump hook on Shaq. That's good.
Now he started the game the same way, missed 3 of those shots before he finally got in rhythm. I think he's finding out that if he catches the ball in there and he takes his time, he can get that shot against Shaq.
Smits has scored 8, and it's a 10-point game. Into O'Neal. Only Jackson there to help. He turns on Smits and tips in his own miss.
The double team is coming from the top, so Shaq should not be allowed to spin baseline. Smits has got to get over on that shoulder and not let him turn that way.
23 for O'Neal. Can Smits answer? He can.
But it's down here on this defensive end. He has got to get his body up on Shaq, and although Shaq has the strength, he's got to know where his help is coming and send Shaq back to that person.
Glenn Rice with that high dribble. Harper looking for O'Neal. Back to Harper. The fake on Jackson and the jumper. AC Green comes in for the rebound. And left alone, he hits from the foul line.
All 5 guys must rebound. When you look at Larry Bird, he knows possession of the basketball is everything, especially when you're trailing. You got to get back in the game. You got to get some stops.
Smits again. He'd hit his first 2, finally misses his first shot of this third quarter. Harper swoops to the basket, and there's a whistle.
And Ron Harper goes inline to inline. Nobody stops the basketball. You got to step up. Now, Ron Harper in that first half had 8 points. He was 3 of 3, hit a 3. Reggie Miller had none. But look at this. Who's stopping the basketball? You take the ball right to the front of the rim, and you finally get to the foul. But Indiana right now, their defense in this open court situation is really getting themselves in trouble, Bob.
Foul was on Smits, his third. Ron Harper, throughout the Portland series especially, and here in game 1 of this series against the Pacers, has been a sneaky scorer. He'll throw in some key points. He says with a smile that in 6 years with Phil Jackson, he has never called a play for me once.
That's when you got Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Tony Kukoc on your team. You're not going to get a lot of plays. That's why you have to learn to play within the offense and just make the shots when they're there, and then you play the tough defense, and that's why he has 3 rings going for his 4th.
And now Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal and Glenn Rice.
That's right.
They're not looking for Harper as a first, second, or third option. It's Rose for 3 and Shaq for the rebound. Lakers by 13. Kobe Bryant to the baseline. He finds Green open. The rebound taken by Reggie Miller. Smits from Jackson. Only 4 players in the history of the NBA have more career assists than Mark Jackson. And they're all Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers.
That was great vision. Looked right over his shoulder and saw Smits coming, dropped the pass off nicely.
And as Shaq makes his move in between Jackson and Smits, there's an Indiana foul.
A fast break doesn't always have to be fast. It can be controlled, and you see Mark Jackson waiting for the guy to cut through, and then he drops the ball off to Rick Smits, who finishes it up. So that's the ability to know when to turn and use speed, when to slow it up, let the floor clear, and drop it off to your big man.
Luckily for the Pacers, that foul was on Jackson and not Smits.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Miller Lite. The coolest stuff in the world is at Miller's Get the Goods Online auction. By GMC. Do one thing, do it well. And by the movie that goes from gentle to mental. Me, Myself, and Irene. Starring Jim Carrey. June 23rd.
Here's Mark Jackson assisting a moment ago on a basket by Rick Smits. Mark Jackson may not make the Hall of Fame. But the 4 players who have more assists in the history of the NBA than Mark Jackson all are Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers. Stockton, Johnson, Robertson, and the newest Hall of Famer, Isaiah Thomas. Hanging out with some of the best in NBA history on that list. Let's go to Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Bob. Phil Jackson, with just a subtle way of getting his team's attention, told them after that last time out, he says, Rick Smits has 6 points, we have 5. We're starting out the wrong way. Bob?
Thanks, Ahmad. Trying to rectify that situation. They go to O'Neal. His hook is no good, but there's Rice with the follow, and now it's all over when it winds up in Shaq's hands.
Again, rebounding, one of the strengths of the Lakers, one of the best rebounding teams in the league, one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league. Talked about in the earlier 2 rounds what they did, and tonight they're starting to wear down and get on that offensive board. Pacers got to rebound.
That was the Lakers' 10th offensive rebound. Smits again. Dale Davis trying to keep it alive. And it's out of bounds to the Lakers. Into Shaq, who has 25. That one won't stay down, but the tip does.
2 offensive rebounds by Ron Harper. You've got to block out. If you're going to get back in this game, you have got to get on those boards. That is one of the Lakers' strengths.
Ron Harper has 11. Here's Miller on the move and a whistle, so he may get his first points at the foul line.
Now, when the game started out, it was the Pacers on the boards. Now it is the Lakers. The jump hook, nobody blocks out. And you see Glenn Rice with the offensive rebound, doesn't finish, and there's Shaquille O'Neal all alone for the dunk. Next possession, it's Ron Harper with 2 tips and a lay-in. So 4 offensive rebounds already to start this 3rd period.
Almost unbelievably, that was Reggie Miller's first point. He hit 92% of his free throws this year. Second only to Jeff Hornacek in his last year with Utah. Hornacek hit 95%.
Reggie is very subdued right now. He plays his best when he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got to find something here to get upset about, get himself in his game emotionally.
Well, you can tell there is not the same rivalry here, nothing approaching it, that Reggie experiences in Eastern Conference arenas. He's got the rebound off the Rice miss. In New York, when Reggie went to the line and got his first point on a free throw, there would have been sarcastic cheers. There was nothing here. Here's Smits. Finds Miller. A 2-point attempt. No good. Loose ball picked up by Bryant. Harper. And the foul will be on Jackson. Meanwhile, Reggie Miller is 0 for 8 after missing that last one. Here's Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Bob. Just on that point you were talking about Reggie being the villain, I had a sit-down interview with him yesterday, and he told me that coming to L.A., he guaranteed the first game that the crowd would be with him, but before this season was over, they would hate him, and that's when he would rise. Bob?
He is, of course, a Californian. High school in Riverside, college at UCLA.
Well, rivalries are born at playoff time. We know that when the stakes are high and one team's going to advance and then one's going to be eliminated, that's where the rivalries occur, and that's where Reggie in New York and Reggie in Chicago and the different Reggie in Miami, the different places that they've had to play in the East. When you only play a team twice, like they do now, East-West, it's very difficult to have a rivalry unless you're meeting in the finals like the Celtics and the Lakers did so often.
1 of 2 for Harper. 14-point Los Angeles lead. Miller returns it to Smits. In the lane, Davis fakes Shaq off his feet, and there's a whistle on the drive. AC Green commits his first. Dale Davis will be at the free throw line. He is actually the lesser of the 2 free throw shooters when you compare him to Shaq, at least in these playoffs. He hits the first.
Look what he's done rebound-wise, though. This is what he has to do, but he also needs help. In the Eastern Conference Finals against New York, almost 14 rebounds a game. He has got to have help, though. He's got to get team rebounding because Rick Smits, for a big man, is not a good rebounder.
Davis makes 1 of 2. He's a career 53% free throw shooter, a fraction worse than Shaq when you compare their careers. Bryant traveled. Finishing up on Davis, he actually improved to 69% during the regular season, but he's fallen off to around 54 in the playoffs. Mark Jackson blocked away by Bryant and taken by Rice. Into O'Neal in the paint. The hop, the jumper. Dale Davis grabbed it. Score the basket on the goaltending call.
See what Shaq is doing now, he's not even waiting for any kind of double team. He's catching the ball and going quickly, and the Pacers are not reacting to it. He's shooting the ball from about 7 or 8 feet.
Lakers by 15 again. Mark Jackson for 3. And he's scored 11. Rice was bumped by Smits, and what a terrible foul from Indiana's perspective. A touch foul way out on the perimeter as he picks up his 4th.
Well, he has a very difficult time moving his feet. You see, he wants to get out there. He's got to take one more step. He can't get there. The Lakers know that. That's why they're involving him in these screen rolls.
Kobe working on Reggie. Dumps it off to Shaq, who was popped on the noggin by Smits, and that's 5.
Well, Larry Bird says, look, we're behind. I've got to keep Rick Smits on the floor. But again, that dribble penetration, Smits steps up and he takes a poor angle to try to get back to Shaq. That's the kind of shot that he's got to leave him alone. You can't foul him on one of those shots where he's trying to jackknife it and go to the other side of the basket.
Sam Perkins now replaces Smits. Perkins, the former Laker, who made the winning basket in the last finals victory for LA, the opener in Chicago in 1991. After that, Michael Jordan and company won the next 4 in a row for their first of 6 championships. This is the first time LA has been back in the finals in 9 years, and Perkins now wears the uniform of the Pacers. Here's Jim Gray.
All right, Bob. Rick Smits now on the bench. I had a chance to talk to him at halftime, and I asked him what he was going to do differently in the second half for his team. He says there's nothing we can do differently. It is basically just pretty much impossible to stop this guy. Never quite heard that type of a concession from a guy who's out on the court competing. Bob?
What we've seen more or less backs up his point of view, and Miller has his first field goal on his 9th attempt.
Well, see, he got to the free throw line, got a couple free throws, and that's what you do. You get yourself to the line. Now start being more aggressive. Maybe he can get some rhythm.
Pacers to within 10 now. Kobe Bryant thinks about a 3. Jackson's on it. Out to Harper. His 3-pointer. Shaq's got the rebound, and the follow is good off the glass.
He was just made a spectacular play. Perkins was in front of him. That was just great athletic ability by Shaq to go right over the top of him, take it away from him, and shoot the ball right in the basket.
Dale Davis out to Miller. Long 3. Jumping out on him is Harper to block it, but he fouled him, and Reggie's going to get 3 free throws.
So now what Harper was going to say is, you know, Reggie kicked his leg out, but Harper got him up on the wrist before Reggie made contact with his leg. Reggie loves to kick that leg out when he shoots the ball. Again, he got to the free throw line. Watch him now as he sort of kicks that leg out, but Harper gets him. 3 free throws here now for Reggie Miller. So once again, as a player, if you're struggling from the field, get to the line and work yourself back into a rhythm.
He's virtually automatic from the stripe, and he's 3 for 3 tonight.
And Bob, you talked about it a while ago. Reggie Miller can be, as Phil Jackson said, dormant for 2.5 or 3 periods and then explode and throw up a 20-point quarter. So I think Larry Bird looks up here and says, as badly as we've played, almost 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, it's going to be under double digits here if Reggie makes this down to a 9-point lead.
When he scored 41 in the 5th and deciding game in round 1 against Milwaukee, he had 18 in the 4th. He got 34 in the Game 6 clincher at Madison Square Garden, half of them 17 in the 4th. Kobe Bryant changed his shot in midair and missed it. They can cut it to 7 with a basket here, or 6 with a 3. That's what Jackson wants, but it won't stay down.
If you're the Lakers, you got to go back to Shaq. Smith's on the bench right now. Perkins can't handle him. He's got his own way in there. Don't go away from what's working.
Glenn Rice turns and misses off the glass. Into the hands of Jackson. Pacers on the run. Jalen Rose to the hoop. Jackson tried to come up with the offensive rebound. The ball's out of bounds, and the Lakers will have it.
How big would that basket have been? It would have cut it to 7. If I tell you, if I'm Phil Jackson, he just pointed out, he said, throw the ball into Shaq. 2 possessions in a row. Kobe tries to score, then Glenn Rice. Go into your big man. They can't stop him.
Shaq's doing it all. Rice is 1 of 8 in the game, and Kobe is scoreless since the first quarter. It's off O'Neal's hands, and on the turnover, Jackson has it for Indiana. Sam Perkins can't hit the 3. That rebound was O'Neal's 14th to go with 29 points.
And Perkins is 0 for 4 from the floor. He needs to make some shots to drag Shaq out of that lane.
Kobe Bryant misses what would have been a 2-pointer. Again, Indiana with a chance to cut into the lead. Jackson up and under, got it, plus the foul.
Well, Phil Jackson cannot be happy with this Indiana run, and Larry Bird has to be ecstatic. They've been able to do a nice job of keeping the ball away from Shaq. More importantly, they've rebounded the ball, and they've got some early offense. Jalen Rose missed a layup, but they come right back. And the nice little up and under by Mark Jackson, who's having a terrific game. He is keeping the Pacers close here to the Lakers, especially as they come back in this 3rd period.
Three-point play and a 6-point game. Indy's on an 11-2 run right now.
Sometimes the Lakers get disinterested if things come too easy. Pacers right now are pushing them a little bit. Let's see how they respond.
Shaw just in, gives it to Shaq, and Shaq's shot was partially blocked, but still goes.
When in trouble, go to the MVP.
He now has 31. It wasn't clean, but it dropped. Miller off the dribble against Shaw. 21-hander won't go, but the follow is there for Dale Davis.
See, I like what Reggie's doing right now, though. He's really attacking. He tried to jump in and get the foul on Shaw.
Kobe thought about a 3. Now off the dribble. Gives it to A.C. Green and Shaw. Shaq is double teamed. Shaw into the lane. Blocked out of there by Dale Davis. What a job he's doing in the last several minutes. Here he is again. And Dale Davis, who made the All-Star team this year for the first time in his 9-year career, has made this a 4-point game as the clock ticks down toward 2 minutes to play in the 3rd.
Seen a lot of pride in the Pacers come out right now.
Shaw for 3. Can't silence the Pacers.
And look, they're off and running, trying to push the pace on the Lakers right now, getting him into a transition game.
Mark Jackson with the reverse. They're within 2.
Well, you know what Larry Bird told Jim Gray at halftime? He said, I like our position. I thought he was trying to pull a little side job on his team, but he must have done something we did, and they're right back in the game.
Kobe Bryant against Jalen Rose. Got it. There is no defensive scheme to stop that when he takes you one-on-one with moves of that sort.
Exactly right.
Jalen Rose couldn't get it back. Bryant has the rebound. Shaw from the head of the key.
And Portland's saying, where were those the other night when we needed those misses? Brian Shaw cannot find one tonight.
Portland's still trying to figure out why this game 1 isn't in Portland. And why the Lakers players aren't the ones watching on TV. Here's Miller on the drive. Shaq with the block. Kobe. And the Lakers get some breathing room. Back up by 6.
Reggie is taking one dribble too many. He's got to pull up before Shaq gets over there, running him right into the shot blocking of Shaq, and he's really taking away his effectiveness.
Shot clock and game clock virtually identical. And Jack Neese says, hold on.
The clock actually stopped here, and he's probably going to have to take some time off of it. I looked up, and the clock had stopped moving.
Gives us a chance to note this. You were talking about Brian Shaw, who had made 7 of 8 from three-point range. He's 0 for 5 overall in this game. And the Pacers sharpshooter, Reggie Miller, 1 for 11.
If you said Shaq's going to have 31 points, Reggie's going to be down 1 for 11, and you're only going to be down by 6, possibly 4 at the end of the third, you would take that.
And as Mark Jackson takes it into the paint, there's a Laker foul. It's on Kobe, and now he has 4. Timeout with just over 6 seconds to play in the third.
Even though Kobe is a first-team All-League defender, what Portland did in the Western Conference Finals was attack him. They attacked him with Steve Smith, with Stoudemire, with Bonzi Wells, forced him to play defense because he did not play well with 4 fouls, with 5 fouls. He just picked up his 4th foul. It's going to be very important to see how Kobe now attacks the defensive end in this 4th period. Indiana now 16 of 20 from the free throw line. The Lakers only 5 of 12. So we talked about winning that free throw line battle decisively. He makes this, they'll be up 12 from the foul line.
Jackson with that distinctive style, right arm extended before setting himself for the shot. So they're 17 of 21. Here's Shaw firing one to beat the buzzer, and that's his first basket of the ball game. Miller from beyond half court nearly banked it in.
See, what I like about Reggie Miller right there, Bob, there's a whole lot of guys who wouldn't have taken that shot. He's 1 for 11. What's the chances of making that shot? He fires it up there. He's now 1 of 12, but he took it because that's what you're supposed to do.
So Jackson's free throws had cut it to 4, but Shaw with a dagger of a 3 ups it to 7. Back after these words from your local station. It wouldn't be a Laker game without a quick roll call. The celebrities on hand. Matthew Perry and friends are here. Dustin Hoffman in his usual seat. John Lithgow looks on. Chris Rock, one of the funniest men alive. Welcome back, Connor. It's been a while since we've seen Gabe Kaplan. Penny Marshall's a regular at these games. Glenn Fry of the Eagles. Michael Clark Duncan of Green Mile fame. Wally is here. Tony Dow. Where's Jerry Mathers as the Beaver? That's not Jerry Mathers. Bob Baffert, the trainer, and Jack Nicholson, as ever. They changed the last basket. They had put it up on the board as a 3 by Brian Shaw. They changed it to a 2, so good news for the Pacers. Their deficit is 6 rather than 7 as we start the 4th quarter. Shaw from Shaq. A nickname for everything. He's taken to calling a play like that the Shaw-Shaq redemption when he hooks up with his old Orlando teammate. Best. Shaw for the rebound. Rick Fox in the front court. To O'Neal, who now has 33. And it's a 10-point game when less than a minute of playing time ago it was 4.
This is where Larry Bird has to be very careful and use his timeouts wisely. We know the Lakers like to surge. Just a big shot here by Reggie.
And it's an air ball.
Reggie now 1 of 13 from the field. Now, if the Lakers score here, that'll be 6 unanswered points. They'll double their lead. I think Bird's going to need a timeout here. He can't let this lead slip away as they climb back into the game. He's got to keep his team close.
Reggie Miller hearing it now from the crowd as O'Neal fires the jumper that's short, and Derek McKee takes the rebound. Austin Crozier into the paint, almost lost the dribble. Travis Best. Reggie, 4 seconds to shoot. Perkins camped out for a three and got it.
Well, he needed that. Sam Perkins is such a big part of this team because he's a big man who actually shoots more three-pointers than he does two, and he will stretch the defense. Shot clock winding down. Big possession.
O'Neal finds Horry with a nice pass, and Robert Horry scores.
That backside guy on the defense has got to step up. That's twice now Shaq has passed out of the double teams for layups. Once to Shaw, this time to Horry.
Plays like that explain why O'Neal led all NBA centers in assists this year. He comes out to meet Perkins to deny him the shot. So it's Crozier sliding in against two defenders, and one of them fouled him.
Shaquille O'Neal is going to read the double team. Brian Shaw cuts right to the basket. The little over-the-shoulder pass. And Brian Shaw lays it in with his left hand. Perkins comes back. A big shot here to cut it back to 7 as he buries the long three. And then Shaq, once again, the double teams are coming, but that backside guy, Reggie, has got to step up. Horry too deep and too big. He finishes it. The Lakers up 9 once again.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, the official beer sponsor of the NBA. By Toyota, making it happen every day. By the irresistible taste that makes you say, did somebody say McDonald's? And by Nike.
Staples Center, home of the Lakers. These are the two best home teams in the NBA. They were each 36-5 on their home floors during the regular season, each 8-2 at home in the playoffs, although the Lakers at times had trouble here, especially against Portland. And Indiana won some big road games in this postseason, closing out both Philadelphia and the Knicks on the road in Game 6 affairs.
Well, Bob, when you look at the finals, you know it's a 2-3-2 format as we look at the best home records in the league. 2-3-2. So if you get down 2-0, there's never been a team that won all 3 games at home. So in order to win the finals as a team that doesn't have the home court, you're almost going to have to win here twice. That's why it's so important to try to get a split in those first 2 games.
Crozier splits 2 free throws. Laker lead is 8. O'Neal can't make it 10. And here come the Pacers just hanging around, not out of it yet. Travis Best with the ball. He usually plays the fourth quarter. But Larry Bird says he's been known to go with a hot hand, play the guy who's playing better. Well, Jackson is playing better tonight. Here's Crozier.
This guy's playing great.
And he brings them to within 6. Mark Jackson, who's sitting, has 18 points on 6 of 8 field goals and 5 assists. As they try to get it into O'Neal, there's a whistle from Terry Durham. Number 2 on Perkins. Smits has 5 and has been on the bench for a while.
After that poor first quarter, Indiana actually has played very well. They got down 15 in that first period, actually down as much as 17 or 18. They fought back, and they're 2 possessions away from tying right now.
Fox, the fake, and he draws the foul as Miller lands on it. That's Reggie's first.
Rick Fox tried to get the three-point shot up after he felt the contact, but couldn't quite do it. So it'll be sideline out of bounds. It will not be a shooting foul.
Lakers have led by as many as 17 on 2 different occasions. The lead now is down to 6.
Now the thing that Larry Bird's got to worry about this lineup is they got to rebound the ball. They've got a small team in there right now.
Perkins takes the rebound on O'Neal's miss. Reggie Miller, who's 1 for 13 in this game. Here's Crozier. Perkins thought about a three, gives it to McKee. He fires. That could have cut the lead in half, but Shaw takes the rebound. They go deep to O'Neal, back to Shaw, around the perimeter to Fisher. O'Neal over Crozier for the rebound. He powers back up and scores.
That's what I was talking about, the rebound. You see Shaquille O'Neal now with 35, but they've got a small team out there. Sam Perkins has got to try to get his body on Shaq, but he just overpowered him. McKee, Crozier, Miller, Best, they've got to rebound the ball.
Best behind Perkins' screen. The rebound to O'Neal, his 15th.
Shaq is having a tremendous game, dominating both ends of the floor. Let's see if they go back inside him one more time here.
35 and 15 for Shaq, with 3 blocks thrown in. Fox. And the Lakers up the lead to 10.
It's like Indiana is playing uphill the whole night. They get about to within 6. McKee's shot makes it a 3-point game. He missed it. It's back to 10. It's hard to play from behind the whole night.
Especially on the road. And now Fisher takes it away from Best. He tried to hit Shaq, but Perkins cut in front and took it back. Sam Perkins drives around O'Neal. Offensive foul.
What great recognition by Brian Shaw. He was locked in defensively to Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller cleared out of there. He looked over his shoulder and stepped up and took the charge. Now watch Brian Shaw. He peels back and steps over and takes the contact against Sam Perkins.
Reggie Miller's worst shooting game this season came in late November at Seattle when he was 1 for 9. Unless he heats up here in a hurry, this will be worse than that. His lowest scoring playoff games ever, 8 points. That's happened twice. Most recently, the Game 6 disaster against the Knicks last year when he shot 3 for 18 at Madison Square Garden. He scored 7 points tonight. 2 of them on his lone field goal, and he has 5 free throws.
Well, you can see what the Lakers have done tonight. They've crowded him on the perimeter. They've sent him baseline, and they've run Shaq over at him to take away the layup. So everything he's done is going to the basket. You've seen very little where he's been able to get those feet set and shoot an outside jump shot.
Chris Mullin, who didn't play at all in the 6 games against New York, is in for the first time in the finals, wearing number 17 for the Pacers. Deep to O'Neal. He has 37 points.
Now, Dale Davis is strong, but Shaq just sort of walked him across the lane, caught it about 4 feet, and jump hooked it in the basket.
Coming up on 6 minutes to play in the game. Los Angeles by a dozen. Jalen Rose on the drive. Can't cut it to 10. O'Neal with another rebound.
How about Shaq? He went up that time and just pushed Rose out of the way to get that rebound.
He passes out of the double to Fox, and 1 pass too many. He was looking for Horry. They turn it over.
Now Mullin is in there for one reason, to make some shots.
Crozier, who's been making them all night.
Wow, this guy. Now remember, he had 22 in Game 1 of that New York series, and then went ice cold the rest of the way. Off to a great start here tonight.
With 16. O'Neal again. 39 points, and watching this makes you appreciate the post defense of Portland. Dunleavy had a fine scheme, but he also had the personnel to execute that scheme.
That's a great point. When you got Scottie Pippen, you got Rasheed Wallace, those guys running down into double and triple teams, they made life miserable for Shaq. Right now, he feels so comfortable playing against that Pacer defense.
The jumper by Best was halfway down and popped out. Lakers looking to put the Pacers away with a run here. It's Fox. The three-pointer establishes a 15-point lead.
Now, Dale Davis is a big man. Now, take a look at this. When he turns to shoot, you can't even see him. It's like he disappears around the big body of Shaquille O'Neal. And the next time down the floor, Shaq once again in the lane. He loves that little shot coming across. He gathers himself, the little hop step, and he shoots the ball right over the front of the rim. And then when you get the ball inside, you've got to collapse. And what's this do? It opens up the outside shot of Fox. Right now, the Lakers playing great basketball.
Four and a half minutes left, a 15-point lead, and Phil Jackson's instructions for his Lakers.
Now, for them to get back in this game, they're going to want to come down here to 3. They're 15 down. We need to play 2 minutes of basketball where we use the clock and destroy their big. So we need a 4-pass. Organize.
Well, Phil, what he's telling his team there, you're going to have to shoot some threes. It's the best three-point shooting team in the NBA. Cover them at that line, and then on offense, come down, use the clock, and pound it inside. Stay organized for the next couple minutes.
Here's Miller. Dumping it into Smits, who's back playing with 5 fouls, and he immediately turns it over, throwing it right to Fox.
And I think it's important for the Lakers in the last 4.5 minutes of this game. They're going to win the game. They cannot let Reggie Miller get a couple field goals. Make him go home with this taste in his mouth. Don't let him get going.
Here's Robert Ory. O'Neal. 41 points. And a chance to tap him on another one.
We talked in our open about Shaquille O'Neal being the most dominant player in the game. And he gets him in a variety of ways. Here he just gets on the offensive board. We talked about he's one of the best offensive rebounders in the NBA. He just powers it in the basket. And but Bob, when the Lakers win, Shaq averages about 31 points a game in the playoffs. When they lose, about 23.5. Tonight, 41 points. They play off of his rhythm in this offense.
And he stays at 41 as Davis rebounds. Smits came back in for 30 seconds, committed a turnover, and then his 6th foul. He played 20 minutes, scored 12 points, had 5 rebounds. Miller for 3, way off. And a whistle on the rebound. He is now 1 for 14.
And there's nothing worse than being on the road, having a kind of game that Reggie's having, and then having to be in that city for 2 more days before you can play a game. That's all you're going to hear on TV, the radio, the newspapers. But Reggie Miller, we know one thing, he will bounce back.
He's done it so many times before. Here's Dale Davis's jumper. Making it worse, though, for Reggie. This is his hometown. He told us yesterday, I'm not taking calls from any friends. It's family only. Family gets the tickets. All other requests get a deaf ear. I'm focusing on one thing and one thing only, these finals. Bryant finds Fox, and now Shaw for 3. Crozier with the rebound, battling Shaq for it. Here's Reggie Miller on the drive. Flips it up with the left hand and comes up empty. 1 for 15.
Now this is where they want to use clock and stay organized and look to that line. Yep, Shawshank right there.
There's your Shawshank redemption.
Now that started on Orlando when these guys played together for the Magic. They do that as well as anybody in the NBA.
Jalen Rose quiets the crowd, but only a bit.
Shaquille O'Neal has been unbelievable tonight, and John Salley waiting to check in the game.
O'Neal got it deep, and they fouled him. The basket doesn't count.
Shaquille O'Neal just feels the rhythm and rolls right to the basket. How about that finish? One hand going away from the basket, 7'1", 330 pounds. The MVP, the look in his face. The man wants a championship to finish this season.
How about that line? 43 points, 19 rebounds, toss in 4 assists and 3 blocks.
Now again, in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, Shaq got 9 shots. Bob, tonight, 31 shot attempts.
And And they're serenading him with MVP, MVP, shot clock violation. In case you were wondering, Shaq was fouled by Dale Davis on his last touch of the game, but it was not an active shooting foul, and Indiana is not yet over the limit. So he goes to the sideline, replaced by John Salley. Here's Miller once again. He's 1 for 16. All things considered, one of the 2 worst shooting nights he's ever had, considering the import of the game. The 3 for 18 in Game 6 last year at Madison Square Garden when they were bounced from the playoffs, and the Eastern Conference Finals by the Knicks would have to be the worst because that ended the season.
Well, Reggie is such a competitor. I can only imagine what he's feeling right now. We see 7 points, and you're hearing the Reggie chants, which is exactly what he wants. If I'm LA, I stay real quiet. He wants this kind of taunting. That's what he feeds off of. Let him stay quiet. Don't get him excited.
The 1 for 16 is actually one of the worst shooting performances in the history of the NBA Finals. Dennis Johnson, then with Seattle, picked a terrible time to go 0 for 14, Game 7 in '78 against Washington, and Seattle lost the last game 105-99 on their home floor. And John Starks in Game 7 for the Knicks, 2 for 18, as they lost by 6 to the Rockets in Houston in Game 7. Both of those were worse because they were Game 7s. Miller has time to come back from this. A 1 for 16 debacle in Game 1.
You know, and just speaking with Reggie yesterday, Bob, you and I had a chance to spend some time. He was so excited about being in the playoffs, finally getting to the NBA Finals. We talked on our Open. He's at his best when the lights are shining and it's bright and the spotlight is on him. And tonight, he's had one of those nights you just want to forget.
Chris Mullin, after 15 years, finally seeing the NBA Finals. And Rick Fox was collared by Jalen Rose, and somehow the shot went in. That might be a flagrant.
You know, in all fairness to Jalen Rose, he took the hard foul, but he tried to hold him up. Rick Fox makes a spectacular shot over his shoulder, but here he comes down hard, and then he tries to hold him up at the last moment. See him slip through as he tried to grab his shirt, so they're not even going to give him the basket. They're going to say it's a 2-shot foul, but the foul occurred before the shot was taken, so Rick Fox gets the brunt of that blow and doesn't even get the basket.
4th foul on Rose, but it's all just bookkeeping now. 100-83 with under 2 minutes left.
Here's one more look at this play. Rick Fox sort of peeks over his shoulder. The foul is committed there. A little surprised that that was not a and one where he got a 3-point play.
Looked like it should have counted.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Well, he makes them both.
Well, where does Indiana go from here, Bob? What do you do? I mean, where do you break that film down? How are they going to slow down Shaquille O'Neal? When you look at their personnel right now, that's got to be a big question because they just don't have a lot of big people to throw at him, and he was in such a great rhythm tonight. So Larry Bird and his staff are going to be up late trying to find a way to limit some of his field goal attempts.
That was the 19-year-old rookie Jonathan Bender, who hasn't played all that much, coming in now in mop-up time, getting that basket. Jan Tabak is also in the game, the veteran from Croatia. As Larry Bird finds a chance to give them a few minutes in the NBA Finals. Actually, we're down to mere seconds. Kobe Bryant with the steal, and Crozier grabs him schoolyard style by the shirt.
Now remember, you were talking about Jonathan Bender. He was the young high school guy that Indiana made the trade with Toronto. Antonio Davis goes to Toronto, and they draft Jonathan Bender. And right now in the finals, I'm sure they would love to have Antonio Davis. Now, they get here to the finals somewhere they've never been, but they could use that big body right now.
Kobe Bryant, relatively quiet night in terms of scoring. That's his 13th point. Game 2 is Friday night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, from right here at the Staples Center. Since the merger between the NBA and the ABA in 1976, the Indiana Pacers have played in 22 NBA playoff series coming into this one. Every time they've won the first game, all 11 times they've won the series. Every time they've dropped the opener, 11 times, they've lost the series. Here's Bender. And Shaw grabs the rebound.
Well, the Lakers showed no after effects of that amazing come-from-behind win against Portland. I think the biggest concern was, were they going to have a hangover? Shaq did not let that happen tonight. He dominated from start to finish. Big Game 1 victory here for them, Bob.
Bryant misses a three. Ball up over the backboard. 26 seconds left. Well, the Pacers battled back. Were down by 17 twice. They got to within 4, but the Lakers answered.
Well, remember in the fourth period, McKee had a three that would have made it a three-point game. And there's some of the spectacular ability they show in Jonathan Bender coming out of high school. Now, he's a guy that down the road is going to be a terrific player, but not ready yet to help this team.
And what high school is he from? Picayune High School in Mississippi. Bryant dribbles and waits for the buzzer. There it is. The Lakers take Game 1. 104-87. And when we come back to the Staples Center, Ahmad Rashad will speak with Shaquille O'Neal. You're watching the NBA playoffs on NBC. The headline of this game in big bold letters, Shaquille O'Neal. Here he is with Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Bob. Shaq, 43-19. I guess we must say the diesel was in effect this evening.
I was just trying to get deep position and take the high percentage shot like I've been doing all year. And when they doubled, I kicked it out to my teammates. My teammates shot the ball very well. And, we knew that this was going to be a difficult game. We had a couple lapses, but we were able to get our focus back and win the game. Now we realized Game 2 is going to be a difficult game, and we have to be extra ready.
In the first half, the triangle was working very well. Third quarter, sort of a lull. What happened then?
I think in the first half we were really focused. Then once we got our lead, we got kind of lackadaisical. But after a timeout and Phil Jackson drilled us, we got our focus back.
Did you feel like in the fourth quarter you had to take over? Because that's when you did.
I mean, my teammates was getting me the ball in a good position, and I was just taking the high percentage shots.
One of the things that's helped you guys, I guess, is the rhythm. You've been playing every couple of days. But what about the fatigue factor?
I don't think we're going to get tired. Phil Jackson does a great job of getting us prepared, and this ain't the time to get tired. So, we got one. Now we just, have to try to get 3 more.
All right, congratulations on a great game, Shaq. All right, let's go back to you, Bob.
All right, Ahmad, with Shaquille O'Neal running wild, the Lakers outscored the Pacers in the paint 64-34, almost doubled them up in that department. Kobe Bryant had 14, Ron Harper had 12. Mark Jackson had a good game for the Pacers, 18 with 7 assists. And the final, 104-87 in Game 1. Join us Friday night at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific for Game 2 of the finals, right here from the Staples Center. Tonight, after your late local news, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. And for those of you who'd like to continue with more coverage of the finals, we have a post-game special coming up immediately on CNBC. For Doug Collins, Ahmad Rashad, and Jim Gray, I'm Bob Costas. You've been watching the NBA Finals on NBC.
The CNBC post-game report. We are shoulder to shoulder with basketball wisdom here. Isaiah Thomas, Steve Snapper Jones, and Bill Walton.
It's called elbow to elbow here.
Exactly.
A lot of distance between me and Big Red because he's a little loose already. You know?
We may have to change our strategy, our seating arrangements for our next show. We'll see how you two behave. And also Peter Vesey joins us. He's down on the court patrolling both of the locker rooms, and we'll check in with him. But first, let's get a post-game reaction from the Lakers, beginning with Kobe Bryant. A moment ago, we spoke with Jim Gray.
Kobe Bryant, your first finals game. How about that performance by Shaquille O'Neal?
Shaquille played great. The middle was open. He had a chance to breathe a little bit after that Portland series, and he had an excellent game.
Were you surprised? It appeared to be so easy, the position that he got. Is it just simply a case where they don't have big enough people to do what Portland did? Or not quick enough?
Well, I think Portland had a combination of speed, quickness, and size. And they were able to bother Shaq a little bit and bang on him a little bit. And this series just had a little bit more breathing room. He's getting beat up as usual, but it wasn't as worse or as bad as it was in the Portland series.
Kobe, how concerned were you? They were up by 17 twice. They cut it down one time, and then the second time they got it down to 71-69. Was there a little heartbeat irregularity there for a moment?
Nah, actually it made the game a little more interesting. It got a little bit funner.
So you weren't concerned?
No.
Kobe, what do you think of Reggie Miller's performance? He was 1 for 16 tonight. Obviously, a lot of their offense goes through Reggie Miller, and they look at him as a catalyst. You surprised at what he did tonight?
A little bit, yeah. But he'll be ready to play next game. He's not going to have 2 bad shooting performances in a row.
What adjustments do you think they can make? Do they have the personnel to really compete and beat you guys in a 7-game series?
Well, they have the personnel to give us a tough matchup. They're going to play a lot better. This is their first playoff game, first finals game. So, the second game, they'll be a little bit more poised, settle in a little bit, and come out and play.
Your first finals game, was it what you expected?
Yeah, it was cool. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the next one.
All right, Kobe, thank you for your time. Good luck in game 2. All right, Hannah, back upstairs to you.
Thanks, Jim, and let's go back down to the interview room where we join Larry Bird addressing the media.
Come out as flat as they did and talk about the play of Shaquille, please.
Well, obviously a little disappointed. We thought we had some good looks to start the game, and when we get down by 15 after the first quarter, it's an uphill battle. I like the way we fought back a couple times, but it seems like every time we got it within 6 or 4 points, that one time 2 points, Shaq just took over the game. I thought we did a good job of keeping the body in front of him, but he's so powerful and he jumps so high and he's so strong, he just went up over us and got the ball and put it in. So, it's frustrating, but, Reggie played hard, but he just couldn't get anything to go. We struggled at times on the offensive end, and I said before this series started, we got to make shots if we expect to win. So we got to shoot better, but we really liked our looks, and hopefully next game we'll get the same opportunity to have the same shots.
Larry, you said you didn't want to double team Shaq, but you started coming at him more when he had about 19 by mid-second quarter. Did he get so many points you just had to go to plan B?
Well, it's hard to play Shaq straight up. Everyone knows that. The one thing he started doing was hitting the cutters coming in. We wasn't picking up guys. I thought our double teams were a little soft. I thought Mark Jackson did a good job come down there hard on him and making him turn away from the basket a couple times. But if you're going to double team Shaq, you got to go down there with your hands active, and you got to put some pressure on him. And you just can't let him look around and pinpoint his passes, because when they start cutting people, we have to have guys picking them up. And when you double team, they're going to get some outside looks, open looks, and sometimes you just hope they miss them. But he was powerful tonight. He was overpowering, and it was really a one-man show out there.
Yeah, Larry, just wondering if we absolutely will not see the hack-a-Shaq strategy when you pulled within 6 or 2, that perhaps a free trip if he misses 2 free throws can help you guys take the lead or stay where you were.
Well, he didn't shoot him very well tonight, but obviously when Shaq goes line a lot, he gets a lot of confidence because he starts making some, then it can hurt you in the long run. But, if it comes to that, we might do it, but that's not one of our game plans right now. We like to get a body on him when he catches in the post, like get 2 guys on him and make him make the shots. Tonight he made them.
Yeah, Reggie seemed to have some pretty good looks. Do you think he was just trying too hard?
Well, it's not uncommon for a guy in his first finals after he's carried us all the way and playing with a lot of confidence to go out and struggle a bit in the first game. I thought he got to the basket well a couple times. It looked like he made some contacts. He didn't get the calls early, but he kept battling. He kept shooting, and all Reggie's got to do is just make a couple and he'll be back. He's carried us a long way, and he'll be back.
Larry, Mark gave you guys a big lift in the third quarter with 10 points and got you back in the game. Did you consider playing him more in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I thought Mark and Travis both played excellent in the first half, and Mark played the whole third quarter. About 7 minutes ago, I thought about bringing him back, but I liked the way Travis was moving. He wasn't scoring much, but at that time we was trying to run some plays where we get some open shots, but it didn't work. I really liked how he hustled tonight. He made a lot of great plays for us. It's just that when you get in a time in the game, you got to make a decision whether to bring him back or leave Travis out there. And tonight he played very well, and he probably should have been in there a little bit more.
About Austin Crozier, how he's matured and the way he played tonight.
Well, obviously we're very happy with the way he battled out there. He's capable of putting the ball on the floor. He's capable of scoring, and he can rebound. I thought he played very well tonight. He was very focused, and it was his first time too, in a big game, and he did a very good job.
Larry, their bench seemed to be very effective tonight against your unit.
Yeah, they were. Usually our second unit plays a little bit better, but when you get off to such a slow start like we did, it puts a lot of pressure on our second unit to go out and try to get back in the game. And they did a good job there in the second quarter, moving the basketball, playing a good, tough D. we had things going our way. Then once we cut within 6 points, the Lakers caught their win, and all of a sudden they run back on us. So it was tough there in the second half because we didn't get as much out of our bench as we usually do.
Larry, with what Shaq did, do you have to rethink what you're doing, or do you just have to do it better?
Well, I mean, we doubled him and we played a little bit straight up, and he was effective both ways. So we'll talk about it and go over it. I just believe if we come down a little bit harder and try to force him out a little bit. He's catching the ball in the paint with 1 foot in the paint. And if he does that all series long, it's just a little jump hook for him. It's an easy score. Somehow we got to get him outside that paint area, and then our double teams will be more effective. But if he catches in the paint, it's a big problem for us.
The thoughts of Pacers head coach Larry Bird as he is addressing the media, and you look at Reggie Miller's struggles tonight. Well, when you look back on Bird's first ever NBA Finals game, a sharp contrast to what Reggie Miller did in Bird's first game back in 1981 against Houston. 18 points, 21 rebounds, 9 assists for the Boston Celtics against the Rockets. When we return, we'll hear from Peter Vesey, who spoke to the Pacers' Sam Perkins, and we'll also get the post-game thoughts of Lakers head coach Phil Jackson when the Finals post-game show continues on CNBC right after these messages.
The CNBC NBA Finals postgame is brought to you by Lamisil AT, the official athlete's foot treatment of the NBA.
While the majority of the Pacers came into their game tonight with no finals experience, Sam Perkins did have experience, and he is joined now by Peter Vesey.
Sam, you're one of only 2 players on the Pacers to have any finals experience. Give me your assessment of what went wrong tonight.
Well, we really didn't come out as aggressive as we wanted to. We missed some shots and early, and they scored some more easy baskets, some second chance points, and then we didn't come down on Shaquille as quick enough as we wanted to. But you know, the game got out of hand the first quarter, but as always, we have to dig ourselves back, and we did. We did a good job coming back and making some shots, but we have to make more plays to score.
But explain to me your philosophy on Shaquille O'Neal. Why, when he's so close to the basket, you know he's going to get 2 points, why aren't the Pacers fouling him?
Well, because of the fact that we thought that we were coming down quick enough that he was going to dish it out or throw it out, and that's what we really wanted. But like I said, we didn't come down more, aggressive enough, and we didn't really want to give up the fouls and go into the penalty so early into the game. But the thing is that now that we gave a game to field them, which is a waste, we have to do a better job.
Well, you didn't think you were going to steal both of them here.
What?
Oh, you did? Could you explain to me what went wrong with Reggie Miller?
Well, I think, like I said, we really didn't come out, aggressive. The shots were there. We had great looks, and LA plays a little soft on defense, and you can get shots. You can create your shots with a pick here and there, but Reggie was, he had looks and they didn't go down. And,
it seemed to me that they were making him put the ball on the floor, giving him kind of the mid-range game.
Well, that's Reggie too. Reggie shoots. Don't get me wrong. Reggie shoots from anywhere on the floor, and he takes advantage of the situation. But at times where we thought there were fouls, when he did take it to the hole, there was no calls. And when you don't get the calls and don't get off fairly early, things tend to sour.
Okay. Thank you. Back to you, Hannah.
All right, Peter. Perkins just 1 for 5 tonight for 5 points. What are the Pacers going to do for Game 2? What are they going to do with Shaquille O'Neal?
They're going to hope and they're going to pray that they can get somebody to come and fight underneath the basket for the ball, because that's what it takes out there. If you're going to have any sort of chance against one of the game's historically great and dominant figures, you got to have somebody who's going to get physical underneath, and that's what the Indiana Pacers failed to do. A year ago tonight, on the eve of last year's finals, the Los Angeles Lakers hired Phil Jackson. Tonight we saw the fruits of that hire, that $30 million commitment. Shaquille O'Neal with the entire repertoire on display. Offensive rebounds, blocking shots, short jumpers, running the floor, the lob passes, everything happening right now. Huge numbers for Shaquille O'Neal. And if the Indiana Pacers don't start doing something different, they're going to look at Sabonis from last series as the greatest defensive player in today's NBA. But you're talking about this Indiana Pacer team as one of the weakest front lines coming in NBA Finals history.
Right, they don't have the same personnel that Portland does, so where does that leave them?
Wait a minute, he got 41 against Portland in the first game, and everybody was saying the thing is over, he's going to dominate. The Pacers got a lot of resiliency. They'll be back. This is going to be a series before it's all said and done, and all this business about Reggie Miller missing shots, he doesn't believe in missing shots. He'll be back. He'll be fired.
Where do you think that they could change their defense on him?
I think the Pacers will probably go back and look at the Portland film and look at the Portland tape and see what Portland did. Portland sagged off the shooters. They dropped into Shaq's lap, and they denied the entry pass. Shaq got up 31 shot attempts tonight. And I don't care who's guarding him. If the big fella can get up 31 shot attempts with his field goal percentage, he's going to make over half of those. So you got to sag off, and you got to force the other guys to beat you from the perimeter.
All right, well, why wouldn't they have looked at the tape already before now? Why wouldn't they have seen what Portland did?
Well, I think what happens is in game one, when you haven't played an opponent, it's normally a throwaway game. We watched a lot of times where in the NBA Finals where a team would get blown out in the first game. You can go back to some of those Lakers-Celtics series, all Pistons-Celtics series. A lot of times game one is a throwaway. It's a chess match. So you're filling out, seeing what you can do, what you can't do. I think the Pacers will go back now and make some adjustments, and I think you'll see a totally different game in game two.
The biggest adjustment they have to make is on the psychological side. The Pacers looked intimidated out there. They have to get somebody who can get that ball and look Shaq in the eye and say, hey, I'm coming at you. Rick Smits missed a lot of easy shots early on. He had some moments, yeah, but you can't sit there and say, well, my guy's going to block all my shots. He had good, easy looks. He just wasn't able to convert them, particularly in the opening minutes when they had a chance to take control of the game.
And speaking of good looks and not making his shots, Reggie Miller, 1 for 16, just 7 points, his career playoff low. What happened?
Well, I think when you talk about Reggie Miller, he came in, he was very excited. I think he was pumped up. He was looking for something to get him going. Normally it's the crowd, the opposing crowd that gets him going. I think he had a lot of easy looks, and he was so open tonight. And I think that Pacer offense found themselves standing around getting easy looks, and consequently they didn't go down. I think his confidence started to wane. He started trying to get to the basket, trying to get to the foul line. But I think Reggie Miller feels confident enough that if he gets those same looks in game two, he's going to knock those shots down.
He just needs a 25-point quarter like you had. I mean, this is a guy that really never loses his confidence. You know, you look at those shots, some of them were in and out. Reggie will come out. He will be more aggressive. He'll want the ball more. He will be more dangerous. And again, he never will admit that he's ever intimidated by anything. So we lost the game. Forget about it. They will come back and play. This is a team that looked bad against Milwaukee, looked bad against New York, and they continue to win. They got a lot of resiliency, and I wouldn't be writing them off so quick. And I don't want to hear about that dominance.
I'm not writing them off. When their best player is Mark Jackson and he doesn't see the light of day in the fourth quarter, it's very tough. How about the Laker defense, though? You got Harper and Kobe playing a great job. These guys for the Lakers, they only have to play defense from 15 feet and out because Shaq's blocking everything inside.
All right, guys, we got to take a break right now. Still ahead, Lakers head coach Phil Jackson and the star of the night and the season, for that matter, Shaquille O'Neal. Their comments to the media when we return on the CNBC postgame show after these messages. The Lakers take game one of the NBA Finals over the Pacers behind a dominating performance by Shaquille O'Neal, his 5th Finals game, his first Finals victory. Here are his thoughts after the win.
We just wanted to, come in, play smart, get the ball inside, see what they were going to do, and we did that. We had a couple of lapses there in the third quarter, but we were able to get our focus off. Game one is always a difficult one to get. Now that we got this one, we just have to be real ready and real focused for game two.
Shaquille, how different is it to come after 7 games of having Rasheed Wallace and Scottie Pippen and all those guys lining you to come to this game? Was it just a huge difference for you?
I just got the ball in deep position, and I was just, making a quick move, taking a high percentage shot. And, it felt pretty good to, be able to, get deep touches and, go up with single coverage or even, double coverage. And I was just taking a high percentage shots, and, those shots were falling.
Hey, Shaq, because of their lack of size, do you get the feeling that you can do whatever you want to do no matter what they throw at you the rest of the way?
Well, I'm a reactionist. I try to get a certain position, and if they take one of my positions where then I just go to a different move. And I'm taking high percentage shots. I'm shooting hooks, going for the power moves. And I think if those shots could keep falling, we're going to be a hard team to beat.
Shaq, can you talk about the big block you had at the end of the third quarter on Reggie? That seemed to, they had cut it to 2 at that point. That seemed to kind of turn the momentum back in you guys' favor.
Well, no, I think Harp and the guys did a pretty good job on Reggie. And, he was trying to get to the hole, and I just timed it up and, just came from the other side and blocked it, without fouling him.
Shaq, throughout the playoffs, a lot of teams have come up with strategies in defending against you, and none of them have worked. How would you defend against yourself?
I wouldn't. I would just go home. I would fake an injury or something.
Shaq, do you have a new nickname after today's performance?
No, we got the first game and 3 more to go, and like I said, we realized game 2 probably going to be a more difficult game. We have to be a little bit more focused and just play a little bit harder.
Shaq, in the third quarter, when they finally were able to get some stops, you guys demoralized them or maybe broke their back with offensive rebounding. Did you sense that at that point that really took wind out of them, even though they made one last run after that?
They made a lot of runs, and we had a couple big leads, and they brought it back down to single digits a couple times, and we just made some key plays. Like you said, we were crashing the boards pretty hard. When I was getting doubled, I was passing out to my teammates, and they were hitting shots. That's that thing they use in court. Yeah, okay.
Shaq, can you guys talk about your overall team defensive job you did on Reggie Miller tonight?
I think we did a pretty good job on Miller, but Miller's the type of guy that I've never really seen him off 2 games, so I know that he's going to come ready to play on Friday. We have to be ready for that. We have to be ready for the whole team.
I say, even though the Pacers changed their strategy on Shaq, why didn't they have any better luck?
And I thought they did a couple of different things. They tried to double from the baseline. They tried to come from the top. But every time they double-teamed with small guards. And when you're going down to double-team big guys like the Bill Waltons, like the Kareems, like the Shaqs, small guards like myself, they just look right over us. So even though in theory it's a double-team, but in essence, we're not there.
Hey, Hannah, did you loan Shaq that hat?
It was a little small, wasn't it?
Like a little beanie on that guy.
That was his only faux pas of the night.
Wait, are you saying he has a big head?
A real big one for a hat that small.
All those small guards who came down to double team, they're the ones that gave Shaq that hat. But that was a strategy that Larry Bird never got to tonight was what he tried to get across to his team at the beginning. He wanted to have either Smits or Dale Davis bumping Shaq from behind. And then the other guy, whoever it was, Smits or Dale Davis, to come with the big double team. When Isaiah's point about the guards having to come down, that's the beauty of Phil Jackson's triangle offense. They have such perfect spacing, everyone moving in conjunction and unison with each other, and consequently, that strategy that Larry Bird tried to do with the big guys.
They don't think we're friends, but that's what happened in this game. Shaq got his friends in the game. And if you let Shaq get his friends in the game, then you're going to have problems.
Friends, it's not about friends. It's about winning, and Larry Bird is not happy about this.
I see.
All right, guys, let's go to the post-game thoughts of Reggie Miller and Jalen Rose.
Put the ball in the basket, first and foremost. But I tell you what, if they continue to give me those looks, they're going to be in trouble. My first 4 baskets went in and out, and every shot but one felt good. So if they're going to play me like that, it's only a matter of time.
Mark, was your first finals game what you anticipated other than the defeat, the game that you had?
Well, it was great, other than the loss. Realizing just how big this thing is. It's special to be here. We look forward to turning this thing around. But it's just a great event, and I'm truly blessed to be here.
Reggie, obviously shots didn't fall down, but what happened to the defense, the whole team defense, especially in the first quarter? Came out a little bit flat.
Well, I thought we did a pretty good job of trying to get to Shaq early. They hit a lot of shots early and got into a little flow. But I think our defense picked up in the last 3 quarters. I know they shot 51%, but I think when we made our run, we did a good job of contesting. We made some easy baskets, getting out in transition. I think that's how we got in the ball game. Now, going back and looking at the tape, if we can take, that effort in the last 3 quarters and put that over 48 minutes and pump it up a little bit, and I think we got to do a better job on Shaquille. We know he's going to get his looks, but when he's getting his looks like that, a lot of them is too easy, and we got to keep him off the glass.
Reggie, it seemed like a lot of your attempts in this game were to the basket. They gave you the baseline. You kind of took the baseline, but there was a problem getting it up over Shaq. Can you talk about your ability to take it off the dribble compared to the
basket?
basket?
Continue to attack the basket. I think that's what you have to do, especially in playoff basketball and in the finals. You got to try to get to the line as much as possible. You just can't settle for jump shots. And like I said, they're giving me baseline. I'm going to take it every time.
Can you talk a little about the block that Shaq had on you at the end of the 3rd quarter? That seemed to be a point you guys had some momentum, and then that kind of took it back with them.
Well, like Mark said before, they were crowding me baseline. To tell you the truth, I thought I got it up over him. But like I said, he's zoning in the lane, and you got to throw it up over him.
About whether you were surprised that Larry didn't depart from the rotation in the 4th quarter. He had talked why Larry didn't depart from the rotation with the game that you were having and have you in there at the beginning of the 4th.
Really, can I be heard? I'm sorry. I don't get into that. The bottom line is we didn't do the job as a team. We've had success that way. Obviously, I want to be out there, but that's not what it's all about. We have to throw individual stuff out and do it collectively, and tonight we didn't do it.
When we return, we'll hear from Phil Jackson and Glenn Rice. We'll be back after these messages. Lakers win by 17. Didn't need much from Glenn Rice, just 3 points on 1 for 8 shooting. A few moments ago, he spoke with Jim Gray.
With Glenn Rice, Glenn, the backcourt really wasn't needed a whole lot tonight. You just try to get the ball into Shaq, and every time it seemed successful. Why such great success after Portland basically gave a diagram to Indiana, but they weren't able to execute it at all, were they?
Well, I think one of the things we did tonight, we executed the offense much better. Shaq got great low post position in the paint and pretty much just dominated the game.
What did you detect in Reggie Miller's performance? He kept shooting the ball, obviously way off tonight, 1 for 16.
Well, I think when your shot's off like that, you got to try and establish some type of rhythm. You got to keep shooting, and Reggie did that tonight. It was just one of those nights where the ball just didn't go in for him.
Do you expect them to be able to react and somehow figure out a way to compete, particularly against Shaq in Game 2 and the rest of the series?
I definitely think so. They got time to go back and review the tapes, try and come up with some type of idea to get Shaq off the low block a little bit more, and they're going to also try and get Reggie going. And those two things there, we got to be ready to go Friday. It's going to be a tougher game.
Glenn, was there any concern coming into this game about a letdown after that big emotional victory against Portland on Sunday?
There wasn't any concern. One of the things that we try to do is stay focused and realize that Indiana's a dangerous team and try not to give them any life out here.
All right, Glenn. Congratulations. 1 down, 3 to go.
Thank you very much.
All right, Hannah, back upstairs to you.
Thanks, Jim. And his head coach, Phil Jackson, just 3 wins away from his 7th NBA title. Here are his comments.
It was understandably a first game of a 7-game series between different conference champions, East and West. And obviously took on that pallor, and I thought neither team played exceptionally good basketball tonight, although we shot relatively well. We rode Shaq's coattails tonight for that victory, and we'll be prepared for a better game on Friday night.
Phil, it seemed like the offensive flow and the movement was back. Was it more of a commitment of running the offense, or was it just more space and freedom to do so out there?
Well, familiarity breeds a certain sense of how you defend a team, and as this series continues on, we anticipate, the Pacers will extract a more dedicated effort to moving the ball and us finding ways to have to, get into our offense. Tonight was rather easy to get into our offense and get the ball into Shaquille. Although they made it tough in the 3rd quarter. There was a period of time there where we were winded, and they took advantage of it and made it difficult.
Phil, you guys withstood 2 runs, a big one late in the third quarter. What was happening with the offense and defense at that point?
Like I said, you know, they made it difficult. They kept the ball from going into Shaq. They had good double teams that were rotating down. We moved the ball, but then we went right back into Shaquille instead of swinging the ball to the weak side and, you know, making their defense have to change sides of the floor. We got the energy back, found a way to got a different unit in there, obviously, with some other players, and they got the ball moving and got the correct kind of anticipation of spacing, counteraction, and double-team defense down on Shaquille.
Coach, talk about the player Rick Fox.
About the Laker offense. What about their defense? How much is the Laker defense to credit for Rose and Miller just combining for 19 points, Napper?
Well, I'm not giving them that much credit. I think that both of those guys are great offensive players who struggled, who will be very aggressive in trying to attack the Laker defense and make something happen. Remember, 80 points in a ball game. These guys can score the ball. They have to score the ball, and then everyone plays off of them. If your main players are not scoring, you're going to have a tough day. Everyone's talking about Shaq and the dominant performance and then balancing out with a bad game by Miller, but those things happen, and they usually happen in the first game.
You're not giving the Laker defense any credit. I sat right next to you during that game against the Blazers when the Laker defense in that fourth quarter made him miss 13 straight shots, and you're saying they don't deserve any credit? This was phenomenal defense. When Reggie Miller has arguably the worst game of his life, when Jalen Rose does absolutely nothing out there, when Travis Best stinks it up.
What happens with it in and out? You know, the ball goes in and out. That's the same thing that happened with Portland. It goes in and out, and it's right there. The shot is there. Those guys are going to make it.
Isaiah, why don't you jump in and break it up between these two? Can you settle this debate, please?
Where is this Indiana Pacer pride we keep talking about?
I think the Pacers, it's not the offense. Again, it's the defense. Lakers are shooting 51% from the field. You let Shaq get up 31 attempts. You got to stop people in this league. And if you don't play D, I don't care how good you score, you can't win games if you don't stop.
This is a guy
it.
that licked his chops, you know? He did like this, and he said, give me the ball. And every time I see him, he's talking about defense. Then, like I said, did they stop you when you got the 25?
No, but you got to score. You got to score. Wait, you got to score,
just want to know,
and you got to defend.
That's how they finally beat the Knicks.
I want to know, Isaiah, if you're withdrawing your application to coach the Indiana Pacers after Game 1.
All right, let's take a break from this talk fest. And I don't know if he's the voice of reason, but okay. Let's go down to Peter Vesey. Peter?
Well, I mean, you people are talking about the 31 attempts that Shaquille O'Neal took, and that's exactly what Jalen Rose and Reggie Miller pointed at in the stats in the final box score. They say you cannot give this guy 31 shots, particularly since when he takes most of them from right under the basket. So something's got to happen in that regard. You know, I talked to Rick Fox about it. Was he surprised that he got such easy looks? He says, you know, he had forgotten how skilled Shaquille O'Neal is because he hasn't seen him play against that kind of coverage in such a long time. And Ron Harper says, as long as I see that somebody is playing in back of Shaq, that ball is going to keep going into him. I said, well, what can you do? What adjustment can the Pacers make? He said, hey, it's hack a Shaq and then see what happens. Now, Reggie Miller said a couple words to me just before he left the locker room today. He goes, all right, Game 2. He says, now see what happens. And I said, I take that as a positive remark. He says, have you ever known me to be negative?
Great, Peter. Thanks. What sort of mindset do you think the Pacers will come in with in Game 2?
Well, I think the Pacers will come in with a very tough mindset. Remember, this is a team that's played against the great Detroit teams, the great Boston teams, the great Chicago teams. So the veterans that those guys have, they're not going to be rattled. They know how to grind out victories. They know how to grind out a series. And I think mentally they're tough enough not to let a loss upset their mental balance.
If there's one thing that the Pacers can do, and they could copy Portland in this one regard, and that is put some pressure on the ball. Don't let Ron Harper, don't let Kobe Bryant bring it up, and that way
you talk defense?
No, I'm talking pressure.
Defense?
Yeah, I did.
This guy knows absolutely nothing about defense. In the 84 finals, Boston against L.A., Game 3 at the Forum, 10 miles from right here. Larry Bird got shut out, frozen out by his teammates. He couldn't get any shots up. Played like Reggie Miller played tonight. After the game, he called himself and the rest of his team made a bunch of sissies. They all responded. They came out and they played a phenomenal Game 4, and they won that series in 7 games on the home court in Boston.
All right, when we return, we'll hear from the guys who called the game. Bob Costas and Doug Collins will be back with more on the CNBC postgame show right after this. A reminder that Game 2 of the NBA Finals is coming up Friday night on NBC. Airtime is 9 o'clock Eastern with a tip at 9:15. Right now, let's check in with Bob Costas and Doug Collins.
All right, thanks, Hannah. In simplest terms, Reggie didn't and Shaq did.
Well, Reggie just had a nightmare of an evening, Bob. He just didn't get the shots that he'd like to be able to get. They did a great job crowding him on the perimeter and running him into shot blockers to force him to take difficult shots. One of the few clean looks he got at the basket, almost an air ball for Reggie. And that's what they do him. Drive him inside. Shaquille O'Neal comes over and he blocks the shot. And then on the other end, just the opposite. Shaquille with great low post position, gets the ball inside. This time he rolls out with the alley-oop from Brian Shaw. And then the offensive rebound, one of his 6 offensive rebounds. He had 19 rebounds on the night. So Shaq dominated from start to finish. And when you look at the comparison, the big thing that jumps out of you here, Bob, more than anything else, 31 field goal attempts for Shaq. What is Indiana going to be able to do to limit his field goal attempts? And the Game 1 stats, plus 12 on the boards. You see the great offensive rebounding, plus 8 points off turnovers. And how about this? Plus 30 points in the paint. Shaquille O'Neal dominated, again, from the moment this game started till the time it ended.
And now this report has ended. The Lakers walk off with Game 1, and we send it back to Hannah.
Thanks, Bob. Well, if you recall in the Western Conference Finals, didn't look like that was going to be much of a series after Game 1. L.A. won big. They scored 109 points. Next game they came back. They only managed 77. So what hope does Indiana have here?
Well, I think they'll go back. Again, they'll look at the tape. They'll make adjustments. Remember, it's a chess match. They'll come back Game 2. They'll look at everything they did wrong in Game 1. They'll make some adjustments, and I think they'll cut down on Shaq's shot attempts. And I think they'll figure out a way to get Smits and Miller involved in the offense in terms of getting better quality looks.
You know, playoffs are about mental toughness, and, you know, when they play well, they play with force and aggression. That's Mark Jackson's favorite term. They were somewhat passive and tentative in this ball game, so you can look for them to be more aggressive in every area of the game. And I think that we're going to have a ball game. We're going to have a series. He picked him in 6, and I know he's picked
Yes, you
a
did.
sweep, didn't you?
I have not. I'm going with the Lakers in a very long series. This series will not end in Indianapolis, but it will be a Laker victory. But for the Pacers to derail this Laker momentum, which started in the 4th quarter of Game 7 against Portland, what they have to do is come out and be the first to the ball. You talk about the great defensive teams in history, which the Pacers are not great individual defenders, but they're very good team defense. You got to be up on the ball. You can't let them advance. You got to be first to every loose ball, and you got to come out with the attitude that you're going to hit them first, and you're going to hit them high.
Look at his eyes.
You're going to hit them high.
See how he starts barking when he's talking about
I
Yeti?
remember you hit me high.
We would not let those pretty boys. We would not let those pretty boys come up the court and say, "Hey, we're going to play our game." No, you're going to play. You're going to play our game.
Now, do the Lakers have to guard against the proverbial overconfidence after this relatively easy win?
Well, I think so. You know, remember, this is a young team. Their leaders are Shaq and Kobe, who are relatively young in age. Although Shaq has had a lot of experience in terms of playoff and some championship experience, but this still is a young team. And they may think that, hey, you know, we won Game 1, and they don't know the type of force that the Pacers will come back with. So if the Pacers come back with the right type of force, the right type of energy, and the right type of anger, then they can still win a ball game here in Los Angeles.
He speaks the truth, because remember when Portland won in Detroit, they thought that series was over, and they were going to have the next 3 games at home, lost them all.
Bill, any danger for the Lakers here?
Overconfidence is the biggest danger, and the fact that they only won by 17 with Reggie Miller having as poor a game as any top player has ever had at this level.
All right, guys, thanks for your words of wisdom tonight. We'll do it again after Game 2. And for Isaiah Thomas, Bill Walton, Steve Jones, Peter Vesey, and our entire crew here in Los Angeles, I'm Hannah Storm. We'll see you Friday night, and we'll send you to Rivera Live in progress right after this short commercial.